Welcome back to another episode of Bromance. I'm Ryan, and today we had LA Stat Crew on the pod. The crew is made up of Dustin Harwood, JD, Joey Kramer, and Munchie. The episode is already recorded. I'm going through and making some edits right now. And unfortunately, Joey was on a call with us. We just can't see his camera for whatever reason. We started off the pod with a draft, and the draft topic was teams that we think will win a round this year. We then did questions from me, and then we finished with questions from the people. It's a bit of a longer episode. It's the first five-man pod I've ever done, but I think it's a really good pod, and I think you guys will enjoy it too. So enjoy.
Yeah. Going on you with the pick and roll. Younger flame, he in sicko mode. This is here with all the ice on in the booth.
Welcome back to another episode of Bromance. I'm Ryan, and today I got LA Stat Crew. I'm going to go in a circle here, five-man pod. Dustin, JD, Munchie, and Joey. Fellas, how we doing?
Happy to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Wonderful. Excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm stoked. Thanks for having us on.
Anytime. I'm really excited to have you guys on. I've kind of mentioned it in my last few episodes, but I have had people on my short list that I just had to figure out a time and week that works, but I'm excited that this is happening. Let's kind of just jump right into it. Not too much banter. It's Wednesday, but there is a tournament coming up this weekend. Is anyone playing in it?
I think
We're ready with Munchie.
three of us are.
Got plans, I think.
Yeah, I'm the only one that's not going.
Wow. Okay, so Dustin, you're going. Who are you playing with?
Playing mixed on Sunday with Eminence. It's Elevation's sort of new roster this year, so excited to play with them. We played together at Nationals, meshed pretty well. So yeah, it's gonna be great.
Sounds fun. JD?
I managed to put together a team, Los Sicarios, for Open Cloth. So excited to play with those guys.
He picked up some Mexican national team players that signed up out of nowhere.
Actually?
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's pretty sick. All right, Munchie is into the waiting room. Let me add him back in. All right, Joey, you're up next.
I am playing with Reboot and with Chosen.
Okay. Oh, you're playing with Reboot. So who's on Reboot? I know this is their first official tournament.
Well, that's a good question, and I have an answer for you somewhere. But people that recruited me to be on the team are Chris DeJesus and Marcus Morgan. And then I know we're playing with Jeremy Meadows, and there are some other folks as well. My brain is just not there at the moment on the team. I have the group chat. I just can't remember everybody.
No, you're good. I was actually looking at this earlier. I'll pull it up real quick. But it looks like a fun roster. So, oh nope, this is the Chosen roster. Well, I mean, since I got it up, Chosen's roster, so this is also going to be their first tournament. But Marcus, Randy, Jeremy, Joey Kramer, Carlos Romer, and then their ladies are Rennie, Sarah, and MJ. So speaking of Joey, looks like you're playing this weekend.
Yeah, man. No, I think it's going to be a great weekend. I mean, looking forward to it. Obviously, it's cloth, my favorite ball, so it'll be a good time. Very interested in how the new rules play out for everyone else. I've played with them many times at this point, but I want to see how USA Dodgeball handles it.
Okay, so I'm not going to lie. When I saw the new rule changes, I did not look at cloth because I'm not the biggest fan of cloth and everything. There's a lot of stuff for cloth that doesn't really make sense to me, and I know there's a lot of weird rules. So I looked at foam. But for anyone who is playing cloth, explain to them, but explain it to me like I'm 5, the differences real quick.
Oh, God. Okay. Probably the biggest difference right off the bat is the play-in balls rule, which is harder to explain than I would want it to be for some people. But like basically how it works is you have the majority of balls, that begins your burden. As soon as burden is established, you've got that. Then you have 5 seconds to make a play of some kind, generally like a throwing action. You got your 5 seconds, and then if you don't make a play within that time, then the refs will call for play however many number of balls, which is up to, what is it? It's like
Down to
you have
one.
to throw down to one ball basically, and then you have 5 seconds to do that. And if you don't accomplish that in those 5 seconds, some of your players will be called out for holding on to the balls. JD, you're on the ref committee. You can explain it further if you think I did a trash job.
No, that's pretty much the gist of it. And we did try to match WDBF as much as possible this year while trying to keep it a little different just because some rules are so discretionary for whoever's officiating. With the USA rule set, we'd like to keep it as objective as possible with like a set time frame to trigger certain calls.
Okay, well, I'm excited. I don't play cloth, but I will definitely be watching, and we'll be doing a host party for anyone who wants to join. Haven't said anything in our group message, but any tournament I don't go to, I have a Discord, and whoever wants to hop in, they hop in and we watch it. So
Nice.
And I think I'm going to be watching this weekend.
it's gonna be exciting. I'm not gonna have any clue what's going on, but we have some people from Connecticut going out, so I want to watch and support.
Okay.
Yeah, it's looking to be a pretty competitive tournament. There's a lot of we don't have some of the bigger teams like Shred and Outsiders coming out, but like Hex has a stacked roster, Chosen has a stacked roster. There's a couple of other mixed teams. Honkers looks really good. Reboot looks really good. Flight has some pickups that look really good as well. So it's going to be fun. I'm excited to see the competition this weekend.
Yeah, and Flight's last tournament too, so that'd be cool to see. It'll be sad, happy and sad. Hopefully those guys get the dub, but Flight's last tournament. So let's just kind of transition right into our draft. So today our draft topic is teams that we think will win a USA round this year. Normally, I would ask who wants to go first, but because there's too many people on, I'm going to go clockwise, starting with Dustin. So it's going to be a 3-round snake draft. So we'll go Dustin, JD, Joey, Munchie, myself, and then we'll go back the other way.
We're just picking teams we think are going to win one tournament this year.
One tournament. And I was kind of looking at the USA Dodgeball page from last year, and I don't think there was probably a total of 15, but obviously there's a lot of repeats there. But Dustin, you got the first pick. What are you going with?
I'm going to go out a little bit and say BCB is going to win women's no sting in Portland on their home turf. They've won no sting in Sin City now 2 years in a row, and they're at home to try and defend it. So I'm excited to see them be no sting women's champions in Portland this year.
That's a great pick. All right, JD.
I'm gonna go with a safe pick. Flex this upcoming tournament in Tempe, Arizona. It is cloth. That is their ball type. So they have won, I believe, every cloth event last year. So I don't think that'll change this upcoming tournament.
Solid pick. All right, Joey.
I'm going to say, I should have had an answer already. You know what? Chosen's winning a tournament this year.
You always pick yourself. You always hype yourself up to win. It's amazing.
Well, my next pick might not be me.
All right, Munchie.
You know what? I'm gonna go with wait, JD, who did you pick?
Flex for this upcoming tournament.
And then Dustin picked BCB. I'm gonna go with Bang for this weekend.
Interesting.
I like these picks. All right, I got 2 here. So I'll go with my first pick on my board. I'm going to go Outsiders. They're a pretty new team. I don't know if you guys ever heard of them. I think they'll probably
young,
win one.
Inexperienced, right?
Inexperienced.
Yeah.
Inexperienced.
Or what?
I'm just trolling. They're definitely going to win around this year.
probably multiple. All right. JD, you said Hex for your pick.
No,
I'm going to. Oh, you said Flex.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say.
He's gonna say heck.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Hex here. I'm gonna say Hex here.
Hex this weekend has Zach
what an
Furnham and
easy-
Chaz on the roster. Those are huge pickups for them. So they're going to come out like Zach, Chaz, Ketchum. Whew, dude.
It's gonna be scary. I'm not gonna predict like the championship, but I think in the top four, I mean, I definitely think Hex is gonna be there. I think Flight's gonna be there. That reboot team, I know that they're like really cloth heavy and they got Joey. But yeah, no, I think they're definitely going to be up there. All right, so those are my two picks. Let's go Munchie.
My second pick. I forget. Were we doing? Oh no, because we're gonna be bouncing back and forth, women and men's, right? I'll go for it, guys. You know, I'm also gonna pick Reboot. I think I like that squad. On paper, it looks dangerous. So, they might come out surprising people this weekend too.
Joey?
Okay, my second team. I really feel like, well, a team that I want to see win, actually. So I don't know if it'll be this weekend, but in sometime this year, I would love to see Atlanta Dodgeball Club win another tournament.
Same.
And I think they really can. So it's just gonna depend on a lot of factors, but they've been developing a lot of talent over there, and I want to see it continue. So they're my pick for this round.
Love it.
They have a
JD?
sneaky good roster this weekend. They've got Sean Wheeler on the roster and Shota.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, Stick that way for those 4 roster spots.
Damn. Okay. All right. They're going to be in my top 4 too this weekend then. That's my 4th team.
All right, my pick. They came off a pretty resounding loss last year's Nationals. I think Mixed Berries is going to beat Outsiders in a final this year.
That was almost my second pick, but that is a very good pick. All right, Dustin, your last 2.
My last 2. All right. I'm going to will it into existence because I love these guys and they always make a good run at Nationals, but I'm going to say Fortune in Minneapolis is my pick there. It's going to be fun to watch. And then I'm going to say in Dallas, Shred gets revenge and mixed over Anarchy in the finals on that one.
It's a good pick. I was curious if Anarchy was going to play this year. I think that last year they just did Dallas and Nationals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but
that's the same. They put out a list of tournaments that they're playing in this year, and Dallas was on the list. The Nationals are on the list. Those are the only premier ones they're playing in because they're doing mostly travel tournaments this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know they try to go international, but I'm glad that they're coming back out. All right, JD, last pick.
Not gonna lie, Dustin stole one of my picks. So, all right, these guys are just coming back to the USA Dodgeball circuit after they won the Scottish Open. I'm picking Protect Your Neck to take a cloth round this year.
Ooh.
Good pick, like it.
I'm excited to see Nikolai play in Premier Tour a bunch this year.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen him, Ryan. He played a couple of years ago. Dylan mentioned him on Rushdown. He didn't even know who he was, and he was like, "Who is this dude throwing at me?" He's a former European handball player, and that guy's throws are like pinpoint accurate. Like he's just so good. He's probably the best or second best thrower in LA, and I think the only person better is Justin.
Get me out. It's all right.
Damn, second best in LA.
Yeah.
Wait, what's
No
this guy's
offense, Joey, but like Nikolai's throws are.
Oh, hold up! I could probably look up Nikolai's stats on my phone.
How do we spell this guy's name? I mean, I feel like I've definitely seen him before.
Nikolay. He'll be there in Tempe this
No, there's a
weekend
C in
playing
there.
with
And I
Protect
think
Tech.
it's Nick.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
think
NICK? I don't know. One of the two.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I gotta see if I know this guy.
Yeah.
Joey, next pick.
Okay, time to pick a women's team, and I'm gonna go with Aggression. Aggression's winning around this year.
Adam on my list. I'm excited for their roster. They picked up Rennie, and I know Sam Hutter's coming back, so I'm excited to see all those ladies together for a whole year.
Right? I can't. I want to see what they do. They keep getting close, and I think this is the year that they go over the top.
Yeah, I think they're gonna get one this year for sure.
All
All
right.
right, Munchie, last pick.
I found the leaderboard from the most recent cloth thing we did. So in perspective, Justin Payan was actually third in that season with 50.8% accuracy. Nikolay was at 55.7%.
Okay,
Yeah.
most accurate guy in LA.
Yeah.
I'm glad I don't play cloth.
why not? It's so much fun.
No. I can't even grip the ball. It looks cool. It looks fun. You know, you can finger block and stuff.
Sit there and catch until you really need to throw.
You know, those balls that are coming in, even though people throw them hard, they're big balls. They kind of remind me of 8.5. They look very straight, but they hit you a lot sooner than you expect.
Yeah.
Look, it's not an A. So
No.
nice. My turn, right? I'll do mixed team. I'm gonna go with VFC winning around this year.
Who's on VFC?
Vivian Fan Club.
Oh,
Got some of the Protecting Net guys in there. So Marshall, Nikolay, Cody Trujillo's on there, Robert Markarian. They got Kara Monroe, Koyo, and who else is on there? Elizabeth Andersag's on there this weekend. But they're always a nice little fun squad. And they
that's
all
a
like
nasty team.
right.
Damn. Okay. All right. All right. My last pick here. I shouldn't have picked Hex second because I'm not going to have a men's, women's, and mixed team. But I'm also trying to pick teams that I know will go out to more than one tournament.
Right.
So got to keep that in mind here. I'm gonna go with, is Frenzy still a team?
Yep.
Okay. I'm picking between Frenzy and Empire right now. I probably shouldn't have said that out loud because whatever team I don't pick, someone's gonna hit me up like, wow, I can't believe you didn't pick us. I just shot myself in the foot. All right, you know what? I'm gonna go with Empire because I know more people on Empire.
Yeah, they were pretty dominant in no-sting last year, so I'm excited to see them play again.
Yeah, and they also won Boston last year too. So that's the draft. I'm gonna make an actual graphic and post this on Bromance, and people can vote and see what they think.
Nice.
All right, that's the draft. Let's move on to the next segment. So we'll move on to just introducing ourselves. Let's just start clockwise. So let's go with Dustin.
Dustin Harwood. I've been playing for 18 years. 18? Yeah. 18 years. Started in Vancouver, BC. Shout out VDL Dodgeball. Byron Wong was the first person to smoke me really hard with a dodgeball. And loved it ever since. I'm now the sports commissioner for USA Dodgeball, running the Premier Tour in 2026. Really excited to kick off Tempe this weekend and see how things go. I'm excited for this year. I think we're making some good changes.
JD.
All right, JD, also from LA, originally from the Philippines. I've been playing dodgeball for 6 years now. I'm part of the ref and the rules committee. I report to Dustin quite a bit when it comes to these tournaments. So whatever he says goes, and I am at his mercy.
Joey.
Hey, I'm Joey Kramer. I live in Los Angeles and I've been playing dodgeball since like 2015, so like 11-ish years now. Uh, Played on Team USA the last two World Championships, and I have been on a lot of different teams at this point. Like it's kind of wild. Some people have basically been on one team their whole time in dodgeball, and I think I've been on two teams that made it two seasons. So, you know, we got a run going at the moment.
Okay. And Munchie?
Munchie Avila, originally from LA, but really kind of raised in the Bay. So I claim California. Playing dodgeball for about, I think just about the same as Joey, about 11 years now. Really kind of took off in 2018 when I found out there's a Team Mexico, and then didn't make the team till 22. So I've been playing for Team Mexico for the last couple of years. And now I just, do stats with these guys predominantly.
That's awesome. We got a bunch of OGs here, and I always do my homework before I have my guests on. And I was talking to Bo about you, Munchie, and he mentioned that you're on Team Mexico.
Yeah. I've been on there for a couple of years now. I'm really excited about it. It's pretty awesome. I'll say this, the future of Mexican dodgeball is very, very bright. I was really excited about how everybody played at the Pan American Cup, and it just got me really kind of excited to see like, all right, this is the younger kids are getting better at it now. So I'm really happy about that.
I heard their youth group was insane.
Yeah. They made a lot of noise out there at the North American Cup, and it was great to see them under pressure. Great to see like a couple of young kids going 1v4s, 1v5s, getting it down to 1v1, getting the chants and the cheers from. And that's the one thing about the tournaments in Mexico. You get everyone just cheering. Like, you can barely hear yourself talk or think really when you're at these venues. So that's super exciting. I got to do commentary while I was out there too. So that's another little thing. I'm kind of finding my little niche here, probably winding down the plane and doing a little bit more on production side with everybody else. But yeah, no, commentary is really fun. I got to talk about the games while I was out there, but the Mexican kids, holy moly. Like, I'm just happy for them to get that experience, that exposure, and that level of confidence. Cause they're like, if I could hang at this tournament, who's going to stop?
Yeah, I mean, that's the highest scale possible. I mean, that was a Caribbean Cup, but Worlds is a little bit higher. But I mean, you're still playing against other countries, representing your country. So that's a great experience for them. Yeah. All right. Let's start with questions from me, and then we'll move on to questions from the people. So I have a bunch. I said this beforehand before I hit record, but I'm really excited to have you guys on. I saw your Instagram last year after a Seattle round, and you guys actually did stats for our series against Fortune in the finals. And I was like, this is so cool. Also, low key, back in the day, I used to do stats a little bit, not to your extent, like not even close, but like I know very, very little of what you guys do, but I have done it a few times. So I want to have you guys on, you guys to have a platform to talk about what you guys do. And let's just hop right into it. So first question, how do you guys come up with the idea of tracking stats?
This is a Joey question, I think, right?
Joey.
I mean, yeah, probably. So we've all play in or we've played before with the World Dodgeball Society in Los Angeles. And so they usually host two different leagues that we've played in, which is one foam league and one cloth league. And so there was just one season where I just was talking to the league commissioner, Costanza, and was just like, hey, do you think someone would like it if we did stats, And I posted that like the Facebook group, and then I don't remember who responded, but somebody responded, well, it looks like Joey just volunteered to do stats. Was it you, Munchie?
I responded to that comment, but I wasn't said that.
Okay. So it was Justin. And then I was just like, well, okay, I guess we'll do it. And then, then like a couple days later, or maybe even that day, I was like, okay, who wants to volunteer? Who would be interested in helping us do this? And then these guys all volunteered pretty darn quickly. And ever since then, we've been some form of the Los Angeles Stats Crew. We just did it for that cloth season first. And yeah, we just learned a lot throughout that whole process. Also, simply what's viable and like something that we can actually do on a regular basis. Leagues at this point are just hard because there's just so many more games, and you have to keep churning them out on a weekly basis. But tournaments are a little easier, and then also uh, picking and choosing the games in that. So it's been an interesting ride at this point. But that's how it all started, was just one random Facebook post when I was tired. And now I've been committed to this plan for several years.
To be fair, a lot of what we end up doing is because Joey was tired and just asking a question to the group, and we're like, let's figure that out.
Valid.
So how long have you guys been doing this for?
I think our first season together was 2022.
Oh, wow.
When we first did it for, I don't remember if it was that foam or cloth season, but we've done one apiece so far. And in our, so that was our first season. We started out with just this spreadsheet, and that was definitely a process. There was 5 of us at the time. One person, Cliff Ferry, shout out if you are watching this or listening to this. He retired, but he was one of the like outside people that volunteered to help us. So like he's like our like secret 5th member, essentially. And our second season, we actually stepped it up and we decided to do commentary videos on our cloth league. So we've like just been trying to find ways to incorporate stats across all levels, like whether it's local leagues or USA tournaments. We just want to get the sport more out there, especially for newer players that want to see like what makes a good player like truly a good player.
JD, you brought me back because I completely forgot we did commentary videos.
Oh.
Is this public? Like,
I'll send you the link.
It was just for our group for like the league, because at the beginning, not everybody wanted their stats known. So we would get feedback, hey, don't show my stats. So we would block out the numbers. And then we started doing commentary. We got feedback. We should probably expand or invite other people to come do commentary and not just talk about certain games. So it's all kind of coming back. It's like, oh yeah, we did a lot at the beginning just to like mess around and see what's going on. What do you, I don't want to curse, but we threw a bunch of stuff on the wall and see what kind of stuck.
No, you can curse on here. No, that's cool though. Yeah, I'm definitely, send me the link. I'm going to put it in the description, but that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The original spreadsheet was crazy. It was like line by line, like player throws at player, hit, miss, block, catch. And like every event just through this spreadsheet, and then Munchie put in some Excel formulas to calculate it all and do all the like stats totals for us and everything. But super, super manual, took forever. And thankfully we've since upgraded how we track stats. So it's a little bit easier, but still pretty time consuming.
You guys are doing like play by play. That's crazy.
Yeah. So actually what was really cool from one of the first seasons we did is like one of the things about stats, and if you've done it, like sometimes you have to put it down in slow-mo to really see what happened, which ball hits which player, that kind of thing. And I noticed just going through the stats that one of the players, his like throw form seemed a little bit off. Like he just wasn't getting any power in his legs. And I ran into him at a USA dodgeball tournament in Santa Monica. And I was like, look, I don't know you very well, but I have to show you this. And I was like, look at you in slow motion and how your upper body is disconnected from your lower body. You're losing all your power in your throws. Here's some video resources to help you out to kind of connect that body motion to get more power. And ever since then, he's been practicing, his throw form, and he's gotten a lot stronger in that. And it's been a big change for him. But you find really niche, cool things. You learn everybody's tells by watching in slow-mo. I can tell a bow fake from a mile away these days. The old shoulder drop.
Oops.
Munchie, do you have something to add?
No, I was just saying, oops, don't give out all the secrets.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the next question. So how long does it take to track a series?
Oof.
Fury. That like
Like a match?
a match? Oh, okay. I guess it depends on what we're doing. If it's like a WDBF match, what are we at? Almost an hour, 2 hours, I want to say.
Like it
Yeah.
depending on how detailed we are, anywhere from 2 to 2.5 hours.
'Cause
Wow.
we
Yeah.
could do pick like Munchie throws at JD, JD's out, Dustin catches Joey, or we go Joey counter rushed Dustin who caught the ball, and then JD pre counter or pre rush throw. There's different levels we could do.
Yeah. The
And
live
you
stats
guys-
ones are usually the fastest. We usually finish those in about the length of a match, plus or minus 10 minutes or so, which is very basic. But the super detailed stats that we've done for a lot of matches and we did for our internal leagues, a 40-minute match is about 2 to 2.5 hours for the super detail.
The one tournament that I did stats for my team, we had some players that couldn't make it, so we were trying to have our weaker players throw, and I'm like, hey, like we're gonna try and work some things out, but like the accuracy really just isn't there. And I went through afterwards, and I just went through, like, I did hits, throws, catches, I think catches that you threw. And I was able to show everyone after the tournament. But I mean, that was a Sky Zone tournament in 2016, I think. There was probably like 5 round robins and then like 3 or 4 playoff series, and it probably took like 4 hours. It was absolutely insane. So props to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, you get quicker. The program we use, PBR, you got hotkeys, they're programmed, pre-programmed. It's just a matter of knowing who, what, when, where. I think the biggest challenge for me, at least, is like if I can't see the jersey number or I don't recognize that player. But I mean, I think we got it to a good point where we just kind of placeholder name, keep going, and then we'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
So what stats do you guys track?
Almost everything. JD.
Yeah. Let's see. The main ones that we track are the ones that you mentioned. So, hits, throws, your percentages, your offense percentage, which is however many hits divided by your throws. Then the defensive stats, so deaths, blocks, how many times you get targeted, catches, and your defensive percentage, so how well you survive your throws. Basically, the things that would be like in a box score if it would be on like a sports website. Like that was our model for it, like our baseline. So we figured that would be a good stepping off point for us to track and for us to show people that want to see these stats.
Yeah, and it gets pretty detailed, like as Munchie was saying earlier, it could be like pre-throw counters, rush down counters, set plays, opportunity shots, catches, missed catches, blocks, missed blocks. So it can get super, super detailed. But yeah, there's a lot, or it can just be super high level, hit, kill, catch, dodge, and that's it.
And what would
We
you
usually do in the middle, typically?
what would you say is the hardest stats for you guys to track?
For me, I think it's multi-ball throws to really give the credit to the right person. I usually end up whoever the ball hits or whatever ball hits first, obviously would get that kill, and then everybody else is just maybe a throw or on target, right? But it's figuring out what ball hit first and making sure the right person gets the credit. For me, is always a kind of pain in the ass.
I think one of the most interesting stat, like discretion kind of things, is what constitutes a dodge. Is it a missed throw because of an errant ball? They didn't target, they threw a poor ball. Is it way outside? Or did something you do actually create this missed throw? Or did you dodge, or did the thrower screw up? Or is it both? And unfortunately, there's no exact formula for that. So that one is always a little tricky. Like there are some obvious ones going both ways. And so generally when I do it, I try to give the benefit of the doubt. That it's like, all right, you did something that created this opportunity for you to be alive on the court. But that can get tricky.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say that one too. Like, understanding intent, I guess, is tough, right? Because were they trying to throw the ball at that person, or were they trying to throw the ball at someone else and they missed? Or, were they actually trying to dodge, but they didn't? I think one of the cool things is because we're a group, when we come up with situations like that, we send each other the clip and you're like, hey, help me out with this one. What do you guys think it is? So yeah, kind of understanding the intent behind an action is important. Were they trying to miss on purpose is a big one in cloth. Like, you kind of have to assume that they're not, even when you know that they are, kind of thing. So, like strategically, it's just the better play. So that's a tough one, I think, for me. And the other one is a personal pet peeve, but when we're doing live stats and we can't tell who someone is on the court because we can't make out their numbers, have numbers on your jerseys that people can see, folks.
Or be flashy, have like one big bright color, green shoes. I'll just call you green shoes all day. But
Yeah. Exactly.
So we need descriptors.
That's definitely a good point, though, because I feel like when you play against people, especially when they're newer, they'll maybe dodge, but maybe it's not a dodge. It's just like a bot movement, but they're just so new. You're like, if I'm tracking stats, I probably would have considered that a dodge, but yeah, I never took that into consideration. What's the weird stats you guys track? So you just talked about cloth. So my, I guess, very specific question would be, do you guys track invalid throws?
Yep.
JD?
Yeah, we in our local league, like we have done it. So it's invalid throw death. So how you die is also getting tracked. And one of the weirder stats that we tracked this past holiday, just because we thought, okay, let's do like Los Angeles Stat Crew Wrapped post to get everyone through the off season. And it's like, okay, let's do Ricochet plays, because a few people did ask us about that. Chris Wheeler being one of them. So thank you for messaging us that and asking that. And I believe Nicole Williams also reached out to about that for WDBF rules purposes. So we did Ricochet plays for foam and cloth this past nationals for the stream court.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting one, right? Because it was just trying to analyze what effect a ricochet catch or like a double kill or more will have on a game, and how big of a game changer is it? How often do they occur? I think JD got some really cool stats. JD, I don't know if you have those handy to share, but they were pretty neat. I'd love to get a line out stat for a tournament. There's some tournaments where just like, dude, the line is killing it. The line is VIP right now. So I'd love to have that stat highlighted in a future tournament. Maybe at the end of Premier Tour this year, we can be like, 500 lineouts across all stats tracked this year, or whatever it is.
Didn't we do a who wins the rush stat also, or try to do that?
Yeah. That was a good one. We also did a stat for average match length to help understand how the new foam 3-minute match was going to go. And actually, the average length of a foam set is 3 minutes and 24 seconds.
Ooh, okay.
Did you do, Dustin?
Pardon?
Did you do the math on that?
Davey did the math on that, actually, not me.
Yeah, shout out Playback Review.
Yeah. Yeah, and we track all. So there's a cool. We should have mentioned this earlier, but there's a really cool tool called Playback Review. It's developed by a guy out of Australia, Davey Tran. He builds the tool, maintains it, and makes it available for everybody. He does let you use it for free, but for some of the more advanced stuff, he does charge like a monthly subscription. But that tool makes it super easy comparatively to track stats from our spreadsheet days. So shout out to Playback Review team for all they do. We love working with those guys.
Love it. Yeah. We also have the ability to give them feedback, anything broken or anything kind of changes or new stats updates where we're part of their crew to support and provide them the feedback to make changes and updates on their software. So we really like working with them. They're very, would you say, customer service oriented.
Awesome. JD, you got some stats?
Yes, I do have it. It is also on our Instagram page at Los Angeles Stat Crew. Check that out when you have the time, loyal viewers. So for foam, out of 160 sets, 36 deflection plays occurred. If your team benefited from the deflection play, so either a double kill or a pop-up catch, the win rate is 78%. And they happen in 22.5% of the sets. So about one every 4-ish. And in cloth, out of 199 sets, 31 deflection plays occurred, 76% win rate if you benefited, and they happen 15.8%. So 1 in every 6.
So for a foam, it's pretty much guaranteed to happen one time a series.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, like,
And I think it was. Go ahead, Joey.
oh, I was just gonna say that's part of what makes dodgeball unique and interesting. I like some people for some reason want to remove or change the catch rules on that and deflection issues. And I feel like it's one of the key components that makes our sport unique is that fact. So I'm just like, you see those stats, it's like it happens every match, right? It's going to happen at least once or twice every match, and it's going to be game changing for sure. But that kind of game changing thing in a longer match, it just changes the momentum. It's not like the lesser team is usually going to come out on top. It's just they might win a set. And so I just find that a very interesting stat to track. Like, yes, it will obviously swing a set or a game, but it's not going to swing a match as much as I think some people feel it does.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Let's move on to the next question. I think I already asked this. What's the weirdest stat you guys track? Right, that's what the question I just asked.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. What was the hardest part of tracking stats initially?
The spreadsheet for sure.
Well, I was going to say getting people to help.
Well, once we found our niche,
Yeah.
we still are at the point where we're still trying to ask for people to assist and help. But you're right, yeah.
On the spreadsheet, like I couldn't use the spreadsheet. I filled it in after the fact because I would get so paranoid that I missed something. So I was just using a notebook and doing tally marks for every single thing and then adding that into the spreadsheet after the fact.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Very time consuming.
Yeah, I think the hardest part is, dodgeball is such a dynamic, fast-paced sport, especially, with the top teams and the top players, that you end up watching most 40-minute matches at like 0.2 speed just to catch what happens in a set play, right? And you have to rewind like 3 or 4 times because there's like, okay, this play was going on over here, but this play was going on over here. So let's capture what's happening here and then what's happening there. And it's like bang, 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 bang. Okay, now we went from 6-on-6 to like 3-on-2 in, less than 5 seconds. And you've spent, 25 minutes trying to sort through that and what happened. And then I would say the other thing that's kind of interesting about stats, but also difficult is for us, like reconciling what actually happened versus what was called on the field, right? Because you're like, well, that call was wrong, but this is what they called it. So that's what the stat has to say. Unfortunately, we always make notes about that kind of stuff because we like to just capture it as like feedback. Be like, hey, we usually do it for ourselves because we also all ref quite a bit, but I think those are the hardest parts for me.
Is that something that pops up a lot?
I don't know. It doesn't happen too much.
I was gonna say not once per game, but like maybe once every other game.
Yeah.
It's rarely something like that's an egregious miss, right? It's like oh, actually, that ball died before that person secured the catch, but it was a bang bang play. How are you supposed to make that in real time? Or, you know, I think those balls touched. And then when you look and see, it's like, oh, the balls did touch, but like, how do you know in that fast paced of a system? So it's like I can't recall anything like super egregious that somebody missed out of the matches. And honestly, like I've watched back a lot of matches during stats where I knew controversial things happen, and I'll go back and be like, oh, actually, that wasn't as bad as people made it out to be, and actually it was kind of fine. Right? Like I've had people on both sides be like, "Oh yeah, it was kind of the roughing was kind of bad," and I was like, "Was it really though?" No, actually, it wasn't. It was just it was a heated competitive match, and everybody wants their team to win, is what it comes down to. So,
Yeah. Yeah, the reffing is just something that you can't control, and I always tell people too that just control what you can control, like control your attitude, your team's energy and mindset, and just your strategy. But refs make a bad call, they make a bad call, or someone just taken out. Oh well, get them out again.
And it happens in professional sports where they get paid money versus our sport where we barely even get paid anything unless you're a ref. Sometimes you do get a little bit of credit or ref payment, but still, nonetheless.
Yeah. Mistakes happen. All right. Next question. What stat do you guys think is the most misunderstood?
Assist, because I don't even get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if Dustin and I throw a ball and we hit someone, but Dustin's ball meets first and my ball hits second, who gets the kill there?
I would
The ball died first, and what rule set?
Technically, yes.
yeah,
Like-
it would be the ball that dies first. The problem with assists is like, is a fake an assist? It could be,
Yeah.
but that's
Could
hard to
be.
quantify.
The
You
move,
know?
it's not just going to be I pump faked, and that's one of the challenges I think we have with PBR right now. Is there's not the best way to track that. If there's two throws, this one throws here and hits, and this one throws over here and misses, this one still gets the assist technically because they threw at the same time. But it's we are tracking it, and we can definitely tell this wasn't an assist. This was just a complete miss. So there's a lot of that needs to get around to really properly track it. And who knows, maybe there's other systems that track it better, but that's what we're using. That's where we're at. And that's the difficult part. I would love to track it because I would love to score a pump fake. If I fake it and that person actually dodges, goes a sideway, and then gets tagged, I should get an assist for that.
Yeah.
I think a
and
big
that's where
part of
the
it.
intent thing comes in.
More.
But go ahead.
The ball shag, like not letting it go past the line, right? You're running up to retrieve that ball while it's like rolling over. That's an unknown stat no one really tracks, but is super freaking helpful that I wish we could like score and say it's a defensive play. You're going out, you're making sure you're securing that ball, whether you kick it over, you slide, you get it. I would love to start tracking that in a game and see how helpful it is too.
Joey?
Oh, I was going to say that one of the big problems with our sport at this point in time is that there is no general consensus on the definition of things. Like even positions on the court are called different things in different countries and different parts of the country. So it's just like at this point, like we don't know necessarily. Like in hockey, the center is the center is the center. Like that's their what they're called everywhere. There's a different translation of the different languages for it, but that's what they are. We don't have that in dodgeball, and we don't have that in all dodgeball stats either. So I think that's one of the biggest things is just creating definitions for these things that are then widely enough accepted that it becomes the norm. So I think that's huge. And then as far as, I guess, misunderstood stats, I think, well, I guess not enough people look at stats for, I think, everything to be misunderstood anyway.
JD? Dustin?
JD. No, JD, you go ahead. I'll follow.
I think something that's definitely like overlooked and doesn't necessarily show up on the stat sheet or the box score, order of elimination. So are you surviving long because you're dodging like however many balls are thrown at you, or are you surviving because nobody is throwing at you? I think that can be a bit misleading, especially to a casual viewer or someone newer to the sport.
That's a great point because we could leave someone in. If I'm playing someone and let's say it's like the weakest player on that side, okay, we're probably going to try and get you out first. But if we don't get you out first, we're saving you for one of the last people because we want you in. You're going to make a mistake. You're going to throw a catch. Yeah. You're going to dump a fifth ball by accident. And now with the new rules too for foam, like you dump that fifth ball, like that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dustin?
So I would say there are two. One is accuracy is actually, I think, a stat that's misunderstood a fair bit because you lose accuracy on purpose sometimes, right? Like if you're cloth and you're dumping balls to kill the clock, you're going to have a lower accuracy. You're throwing and missing on purpose, but that's the strategy. That's the optimal strategy. If you're doing like a 2-ball play or a 3-ball play, in any sport or in any ball type, you know, some of those balls are meant to miss and the follow ball is meant to be the one that hits if you're doing like a smoke one or whatever, right? So, you know, there are misses on purpose that affect your stats. And I think some people look at their stats and like, oh man, my accuracy was poor. And it's like, yeah, but you got to look at the context of the plays sometimes too to understand. The other one is volume. I've had people, you know, be like, man, I'm just not very high on the leaderboard because I don't have a lot of kills. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't play corner. Like the corners are always going to have a ball and get the vast majority of kills and the vast majority of throws. Your job is different when you're not in the corner, when you're in the middle, and you're going to have a lower volume of throws. You're going to have a lower volume of, you know, hits and those kinds of things. You're not going to have very many blocks the whole game, even, you know, so.
All retrievers on the court that we can't stat.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like those are kind of ones that people get stuck in a little bit. And it does require a little bit of like team effort and coaching to go in and actually like, okay, we have the stats to support it, but now let's go in and look and like really understand what happened here. So the stats are really an indicator, but you still need to do some of that review to understand what happened on the court, which is, I think, just as important.
That's a good point too, with like trying to throw a ball at someone to stagger or dumping a ball at the end of a game. We did Eli Sears. He did stats for one of our tournaments like a year and a half ago for a semi-pro tournament. And I was looking at them and I was like, damn, like I have like 20 more throws than everyone. And I think I was like second and my actually wasn't the best. And I'm like, what happened here? So I went back and it was in our semis that it was like myself and Eli with against like 5 people. And that game lasted forever. We ended up winning it. But in return, I dumped like 10 or 12 balls on purpose that had no intentions of getting anyone out, like not even forcing someone to ball block, just like a foot or two in front of you, just so you cannot throw that ball. The person next to you will. But yeah, no, that's a really cool niche. And then one other thing too, Munchie, that you mentioned about shagging. So if you ever played a tournament with me or you've ever asked me for advice, I am huge on shagging. Like if we had to pick and choose a side or burden, I pick side 10 out of 10 times. Because if I can throw, like, for example, in Boston, there was like 3 courts that you had like the glass behind you and then the other side had nets. And I'm like, hey, let's pick the side with the nets behind us because we get that first game here. If it comes down to it, it's an odd game. Like we're going to have to play against that side. And I don't want to. I want more games on this side of the court.
Oh yeah. You're home field at that point, right? You want that wall. 1,000%. 1,000%. I want that all the time.
But yeah, that's again, like the shagging and stopping balls. And I always tell my teams, the more balls that we stop, even if it's 1 or 2 a game, you go through and you add all that up over, 2, 20, 25-minute halves, whatever. It all adds up and it just gives us more and more opportunities.
Yeah, I was going to say it would be it. We can track the dumping of a ball. We would just have to manually classify it because there's not a classification of it today, right? I mean, we can, when we're looking at it, we can easily, I think there is, back to, Joey's point of the discretion, right? For that particular throw, were they dumping it or were they actually trying to throw it? Because sometimes when you're trying to review a play in video after the fact, you weren't there, you didn't see it live, you didn't see really the, back to Dustin's point, intent of that throw, right? But there could be an opportunity to probably add that stat category of, a waste of a ball, a dump of a ball, where it doesn't hurt your accuracy, but it is part of your throwing, right?
Mm-hmm. Anyone have anything else to add? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say a side note to that is like the way that playback review is used by a lot of people is it's you tracking the stats for your own team, right? And so some of these things that if you're tracking the stats for your own team, you were in on the play call, you know that they were trying to dump this ball. So like the intent of these plays, and so then you can track that through that or through your own stats, however you're using it. But as an objective observer, we can't. There has to be, we have to have a way to just do it so that we can move on and not think about it too long. Because if we're thinking about every single play, every time we track a stat, what was the intent? It just adds time that none of us can really afford because, most of the time we're not getting paid to do this yet.
Yeah. All right. On to the next question. I'm sure we definitely touched on this here, but is there a stat that doesn't really show up on paper?
Yeah, that rebound.
I think that the biggest stat that doesn't show up on paper is going back to Joey's thing earlier, is the concept of positions and how over the course of a single set, one person could end up playing multiple positions, right? Like you could start in the middle and then end up as like a secondary wing and then on the wing or corner yourself, right? And then you're playing corner, filling in for your corner as they got out. And there's just no good way to track that or really represent that. We've talked about trying to assign positions to players so they can kind of one-to-one see how they perform against other players that play similar positions, but because of how dynamic dodgeball is, it's hard to quantify that. Like what happens if you're on a 5-on-1, right? Like what position are you now? We don't have names for those things. We don't really have designations for that kind of stuff. And it's hard to give people those designations and then see how they perform. So for me, I think that's one that's needs to be figured out in the long term as a community.
I think we just need to, us personally, just come up with lanes on the court, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and whichever lane that person is throwing from, that's your position. Mm-hmm. We created it right now. We're going to stick to it, and that's what we're implementing moving forward. So
you heard it here first
on the Bromance podcast.
On the Bromance pod. So what do you guys call positions? Like I call it corner, inside corner, and middle.
Corner, wing, and center is usually how I refer to
it.
Yeah. Corner, support, middle.
I like that. Support. I've heard it all. Does anyone have anything to add to that?
Quality of play calling is definitely not going to show up on the stats sheet. So whoever is calling the plays for your team, whether it's a good or bad play, like most people will think, oh, that was a good call just because of the result. It might not have been, but in the overarching scheme of things, it might not have been like the best play for your team in the long run, because just because you got an out doesn't mean like it was successful. Like you could have dumped 3 balls or the ball popped up and you might have had to spend an extra ball just to make sure that nobody on the other team caught the pop-up or that they had to hold off on countering you on that follow play.
That would be a pretty cool stat if you were able to track it in real time, or they would tell you, like, for example, let's say for Shred, like Sean Wheeler is the IGL, like he's calling all the shots for the series, and you just track like their winning percentage.
Mm.
Yeah, that'd be actually good too.
Be cool stat. Does anyone have anything else to add to that?
Mm. One that I think would be interesting to track in the future would be like majority ball possession. I think that, you know how in like certain sports they track how much time you have on ball, whether it be basketball or like hockey, they have puck possession stats. I think it would be interesting to track like what your win percentage is based on like what your majority ball possession numbers are as well.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Like time of possession for football. Like this team had it for like 38 minutes versus, 22 on the other side.
Yeah. More ball possession equals higher chance to win would be an interesting stat.
Go ahead.
That was it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, to add to that, you can say, damn it, where did my brain go? Ball possession, hitting, when you hit ball. I don't know. I lost the thought. Never mind.
If there's a four-ball play in cloth, Sean Wheeler's taking a flight kill in our local league every damn time.
You got to get the practice in somewhere, all right?
I think I think one thing that's not super like it's being worked on with PBR, but it's like essentially, does your decision affect the outcome, right? Did you make a play that now your team wins because of it, or did you make a play that causes your team to lose? And so, did you get a kill at the opportune moment? Did you make a catch at the right moment? Like, are these game-changing plays? And so, like, that doesn't exactly show up on the stat sheet, right? It's like if you are the only person in, right, and it's 6-on-1, and you get out 4 of them, you still lose, right? So yeah, your kills went up, and maybe your accuracy is great or whatever, but you still lost. So it doesn't track that kind of gameplay in the same way. And like there is, we have implemented like just wins, right? Were you on the court when your team won? And so it's kind of like almost all stats really, you can't look at any individually. You have to look at them as a whole, like maybe you've got the best stats in the entire country, but your team has never made it to the semifinals. Does it matter? Does it matter how good you are at that point? And so those kinds of things are difficult to track unless we're looking at like every game across the country, but like at the same time, then there's people like in Major League Baseball. It's like, well, Mike Trout, statistically insane, just never gets to win, never gets to go to the World Series, never has that life, but he's still one of the greatest baseball players of a generation. So I think trying to find, or I guess we're getting to a point where like that discussion is interesting, right? We can finally have that. Were you just on a winning team, or are you a reason the team is a winning team?
Yeah, that's a good point. So what do you think are some winning qualities for stats other than obviously hits? Like what are some other things that would pop out?
Survivability is huge. Yep. Huge, right? Like, and you can see that in the stats because it's a combination of like blocking and dodging and catching. And you can see the difference between like winning teams and winning players, or players that have a history of winning with their survivability. If your survivability is lower than 80%, you need to work on your survivability. Like it needs to be that high. You need to dodge 4 out of every 5 throws, essentially, or survive 4 out of every 5 throws, right? And that gives your team a winning chance because that's now 5 chances your team gets to kill someone on their side, right? And I think that's a hugely integral stat for me personally, and one that is not really controversial, or it's hard to game, right? Because there's just so much that comes out of it. If you're hard to kill, you give your team more chances to win.
To add on to Dustin's point, not just survivability, but doing it without a ball in your hand, without that that second layer of protection in a blocking ball. Because on defense, at most, you're going to have 3, but which 3 of your players get the ball? Like, who do you prioritize in protecting? So you have to be able to survive without a ball in your hand, because if you don't have a ball in your hand, there's a decent chance you're drawing in multiple balls, and drawing in multiple balls, surviving those, now you get an extra chance on offense.
That's a very good point. Whenever someone asks me for advice other than me just telling them like, hey, just if you don't record, go watch your series back. I always tell them to get their survivability up and get their ball blocking up. So I'll say, if you're not a good ball blocker, become a good ball blocker and then move around. So we're actually having, it's not Connecticut Dodgeball, but this Friday we're having practice drills. But I'm gonna tell everyone like, hey, even the best players that are really good at ball blocking, if they just sit there and it's foam, like they're gonna get hit eventually. So if we can move out of the way and then secondary, okay, now we have to ball block that ball, you're gonna be so much better because you're gonna be on the court so much longer. And even if you're gonna make a negative play, like you're still on the court, the other team has to at least look at you.
Fill a body. Yep.
Exactly.
And with the rule changes for USA Foam this year and possibly World's Foam, that's going to be more important than ever because there's going to be no blocking after every single set, right? And so you no longer have the blocking advantage anymore. So your ability to survive without a ball is always important, but will be more important going forward, I think, than ever before in the sport, specifically for foam.
So let's kind of just hop into that right there. So how do you guys think the new foam/cloth rules will affect analytics?
Affect analytics. Oh, huge, because you're gonna get like a lot more reps in rather than sitting there, having a 4-minute blocking game between two people or what. Yeah, so I like that aspect about it. It'll be more games for us to do at the end of the day. But I think I've been big fan of it. Coming from a man who plays cloth. We do it now here in LA. We've been doing it for a while now, so very, very used to kind of that tempo, which is really exciting. So I for one am pretty happy about it. It's about time foam catches up to cloth.
Diddy?
I think there's going to be fewer catches also because now you have they implemented 1 point of contact for Worlds for foam. And so now USA Dodgeball has adopted that. So those diving out of bounds catches that we have seen the past year, which don't get me wrong, they are amazing to watch. We're not going to have that. We're not going to have that anymore because you are required 1 point of contact while controlling the ball. So that's going to result in fewer catches across the board.
Even jumping as well, right? Like when there was no points of contact, you could jump and secure the ball in the air, and it was considered a good catch previously. That's no longer the case. If you get hit while you're in the air and that ball dies before you land, you're dead. It's no catch.
Mm-hmm. Back in the day for elite, if you were to catch a ball between your legs, but you didn't possess it, so you didn't put your hand on it and you fell out, or someone threw the ball right at you, no catch. Didn't possess it. Yeah. Me personally, so I feel like I mean, these rules are going to be crazy with how the burden resets, but I do think that accuracy is probably going to go down overall. I think there's going to be less catches in normal matches, but I think there'll be more catches in no ball blocking.
I can see that. Yeah.
So I'm excited for Minnesota. I mean, there's a shitload of teams. There's like 32 teams, new rules for everyone. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, last year in Arizona, they introduced the Frankie box and the 2 shaggers only, and no one knew what the hell was going on. And they're like, whose idea was it for the Frankie box?
You know what? By nationals, though, the Frankie box was working well. Everybody kind of knew what was going on, and they were doing really well. So I think in the end, it kind of proved out. It was good.
I don't hate it. I wasn't a big fan of it at first. And there was only like one hiccup legit all year that I can remember. But yeah. Let's move on to the next question. What's one stat that casual... Oh, I'm sorry. Did someone want to add something?
Oh, no, I was just saying, I remember getting screamed and yelled at the first time. I was like, stay in the box. I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah, don't shag that ball. Stay in the box. Next question. What's one stat that casual fans overlook?
Definitely, like we touched upon this earlier, like order of elimination. Like, are you surviving because like you're being left alone, or are you somehow dodging multiple ball thrown at you like simultaneously or staggered or whatever? And like one example that I can remember is Samantha Greco in the world's gold medal match. She was targeted pretty early by Canada because she was such a prolific catcher, and like as their best catcher on that team, it definitely made a huge difference uh, in their survivability and just bringing out players back in, like their best throwers back in. So you don't have someone on the court to catch you, like they can just pick you off one by one. They just can turn it into a waiting game.
Joey, I saw you had your mic muted.
Yeah, but right now I just can't remember what we call the stat for some reason, and it's bothering me. Uh, but it's like it's kind of like, guys, help me out. It's the number. It's like it's your it's I mean, I guess it's your ratio, right? It's your kill to death ratio, right? That
Yes.
I think that stat is very interesting. Now, it doesn't necessarily, like, if you don't pair that with wins, it doesn't matter, right? But if you are one of the leaders on your team in wins, as well as anything over like two, you're playing pretty phenomenal dodgeball, right? You're getting at least two people out before you go out every single game. And I think that is just an amazing stat to just give yourself an average of, like, well, who's really the most impactful offensive player on the team?
Bunchy?
I agree with what they're saying. I would same thing.
Dustin?
I would say honestly, like defense is one that gets overlooked a lot. I think people love highlights, they love kills, they love catches, but I don't think enough people appreciate. I think you actually touched on this, Ryan, is like when you played with Dan, you didn't appreciate how much he actually brings to the court as like a fan of his and as a watcher. And you played with him and you're like, damn, Dan is good, right?
Damn, Daniel.
Yeah. So it's the same thing, I think that there's that survivability aspect that some people bring to the court that just goes unnoticed or underappreciated because it's flashy.
The one stat for me that I think people overlook is catches that are thrown. I don't care how many people you get out. If you are throwing a catch and you're flipping the game, like, we can't have that. And I always tell like newer players too, or working with players actually in Connecticut Dodgeball, about not throwing catches or like limiting their catches. I say, hey, just because someone is in front of you without a ball or one off doesn't mean you have to throw at them.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to go to that front line and always throw at someone. You can just live for the next play.
It's a good one.
It's a good one, Ryan. I go into a lot of my league play with the mindset of, I don't want to throw a catch today. Like, that is a significant thought that goes through my mind of, like, okay, if I can get through a league night without throwing a catch, that's a pretty successful night, right? Especially because I often play corner in our league, so I'm throwing at a lot, a higher volume than average players across the board. And so it's like, if I don't throw a catch throughout the whole night, we probably win. Like, that's not always true, but it's just one of those things. If no one on your team throws a catch, or you limit that, there's a very good chance that your team's winning that game or those matches.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. And that kind of also ties into my survivability that I was talking about earlier, and you guys mentioned as well. But going up to the front line, not throwing a catch, falling back to the back line, now we're on defense. You're never going to hit me, or it's going to take like way too many balls for you guys to throw and get me out. And by the time you guys get me out, like, my team has 4 balls, 5 balls, the number is going to be in our favor and we're going to win. So moving right on to the next question. What separates elite players statistically from average ones?
Yeah, like we keep harping on survivability, like, but that's like the biggest difference between like an average to good to great to elite player, especially survivability without a ball in your hand. Like we need you on court, like for whatever skill set you bring to the table. Fact of the matter is, if you are on court, like you need to stay on court as long as humanly possible for whatever play style and whatever calls or whatever strategy that your team has prepared going into that particular match.
Anyone
I
else?
think, yeah, I think for me, accuracy is probably the biggest one. Just because if we have your corners that are always going to have a ball, right? Someone in the middle is going to have that third ball, but your corners are always going to continuously start with that ball. And if they're not hitting, they're not protecting you, they're not executing on those plays, that's a big, big deal. Like, what are we doing, right? Get someone else, rotate that person in, shuffle the strategy now because now this person's not connecting. So I think accuracy is really the biggest thing. To your point, Ryan, if you're up at the line and you don't need to throw, maybe a pump fake is all you do, get back on defense, right? If you're throwing that ball, you're missing, you just dump the ball, you get caught, worse, it's a two-person swing. Accuracy is the biggest thing.
Dustin?
I would say accuracy, but maybe one step further is placement specifically, right? And that's kind of the thing about accuracy and stats. You can be 100% accurate and have 0 kills because they just blocked every ball, right? Like if you're just hitting their blocking ball the whole time, but if you're getting it under those blocking balls, you're hitting those toes, you're clipping those shoulders. I imagine a world where, like, I think we've all seen it in like baseball, right? You've got the strike zone and you can see where the pitchers place their pitches and where a batter's sort of good spots are and their bad spots are. I would love to see a world in dodgeball where you have player evals of that. Like if you're throwing at this player, here's where they're less likely to make a catch. Here's where they're more likely to get a hit. So you can really see like how accurate your placement is, right? Because that's, I think, something that really separates elite players from average players, right? And I think that's super important.
That's a really good point. I will not say the team and I will not say the player, but it was someone on my team that we played in a tournament last year. And every single time that they would throw with the person in front of them and they're playing in a corner, I was playing inside corner, they would throw and it would be a bad miss. Like it'd be like 2 feet in front of them or it'd be 2 feet above them. Like they wouldn't even have to pause to ball block. And every single time that this happened, they were running an away. And every single time they ran the away, the kill was never on them. It was always a cross. And we ended up playing this team 3 times. So the second and the third series, I'm like, hey, when this person throws and they're running an away, just look opposite because that's where the throw is always coming from. But like that's a very good stat to point out there.
What tournament was that from, huh?
Man, I forget.
He doesn't forget. So I have 2. So the way that like PBR and like we track stats currently, Dustin just touched on it. We hadn't said it yet before, but like, so if you throw a catch, technically that ball was on target. If you throw a ball that's blocked, technically that ball was on target. So those are accurate throws that are also not successful throws. And so Sean Wheeler mentioned this at some point when I was talking to him. He was talking about hit rate, right? And so that is calculated in PBR as well, which is, did your ball get someone out? Did it hit somebody when you threw it? So hit rate over accuracy is a pretty important stat in terms of someone's success on offense. And I think what your hit rate is a huge level for elite players. It's a much higher for someone who is only throwing balls when they think they're going to hit somebody. They're not just throwing balls to throw. They're throwing to finish something off. And I think that is a huge stat. And then also, like at the end of the day, wins. Did you win when you were on the court or did you not? And that number can be skewed in a lot of leagues, right? If you're maybe not one of the strongest players or you're a newer player and you're carried by the rest of your team. But once you get to the competitive scene, if you are on the court when your team wins more than your teammates, you have to be doing something right. It's impossible for you to not be doing something right if your team is winning and you're on the court. Like somehow, even if it's the craziest bananas stuff that looks like you are hurting your team, but your team wins, it means something. And it's not always perfectly quantifiable, but I find that if you're not getting wins paired with those other stats, it's yet,
Or
I don't think we've figured this out, is essentially a war stat, right? A wins against replacement. If we can figure out an appropriate way to do that for dodgeball, I think that will really showcase the elite players. It'll be a pretty obvious, dis- uh, uh, not discrepancy, but like some word that starts with a D. Disparity between the top and the middle level. I think people will really pull themselves apart if we can figure out a way to do that effectively. Some kind of crazy algorithm that we'll come up with.
That stat would definitely separate like the top tier players from the middle tier, the bottom tier. I was thinking war, or I was thinking like plus minus for like basketball, but I think war would be way better.
We did track plus minus
But
one season
I was
when we were doing it manually.
But either way, I think it goes back to Dustin's point of the positioning, and Joyce's point too, right? The positioning of where you're at, right? Because that's, I think, also something to add to this specific thing in terms of what we're talking about at the end of the day from a war aspect. Are you a better corner or center, right? Because that's going to take effect, right? So just something like that. But I agree that war would be huge to really kind of say, hey, if we put this lineup together, what are we at versus this other lineup? You know, adding one person can change the whole thing. Adding 2-3 people, where how better does that make our team?
Mm-hmm. All right, so I have a few more questions here for me. So I'm going to share a story real quick before I ask this question. So last year when I was in Seattle, Dan Alport was on a flight. It was awesome to have Dan on flight. Awesome teammate. Can't say enough good things about Dan. But we were playing in the finals, and I realized in real time that Dan was playing good. But I'm one of those sick fucks, and I know that we're on the stream court. So went home. I went to the hotel room, and I'm watching the finals immediately. And I'm like, yo, Dan fucking cooks. And oddly enough, you guys posted that stat, like that graphic came out a few days later. And I'm like, yo, I'm glad Dan is getting his recognition here. But my question for this is there a player who comes to mind that may not be flashy, but analytically is super underrated?
It's a great question.
Jessica Gray from Valkyrie comes to mind. She has whenever we've done a Valkyrie match, she has consistently put up pretty good numbers, especially on the offensive end. On the defensive end, probably John Bell from Misfits.
Ooh, that's a really good one.
Yeah, because he is just like, when it comes to survivability, that guy is probably the gold standard.
Always so the last one in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't. I think I'm gonna go with JD's picks. Like, we did a number of Valkyrie matches last year, and there were matches where Jessica was not in them, and then Jessica was in them, and the team has a completely different look. Like, if you talk about war and a player that has that effect, she's near the top in terms of women's for sure, and so constantly consistent with what she puts on the court, right? Like, she's just ultra reliable. We haven't done it yet, but I'm looking forward to doing the stats for the kickoff match, which was Valkyrie versus
I think it was Caffeine and Co.
Yeah, Caffeine and Co. Because they squeaked out the win beating Valkyrie, which is huge. But I'm super curious to see what those stats come out with when we do them. And then yeah, John is, like JD said, sort of the gold standard in survivability. That guy. And I think it goes underappreciated because he's not quite as flashy as like the Akils or the Danchenkos, right?
Yeah. Munchie?
You know what? I don't know who else to name other than what they got. So I'm gonna just go with their picks.
Okay, Joey, anyone come to mind?
So I wish that I had one, but what I find fascinating is that there isn't specifically one that comes to my mind. And I think that's partially has to do with we've played against so many of the players that we've done these stats for. And oftentimes the stats just back up what we already inherently know, right? So it's like, all right, this player's good. And then we see the stats and we see, oh, well, this is why they're good. It's because they do these things very, very well. It's just that it kind of reinforces. And the same thing like you were talking about with Dan, is it's like Dan's gotten so much better over the last couple of years, and we all could see it and we all knew it. And then when you look at the hard numbers, you're like, there it is. Like there's the proof of what we can already see. And I think that's where it is with stats. There's going to be some people, and people do surprise you. But right now, off the top of my head, it's like, well, the people that you think are the best kind of generally are. There's always exceptions or people on the come up and people on the come down. But like overall, we've done a pretty good job of curating a lot of so the national teams and some of these better club teams. It's like, they're made up of some of the best players in the country and in the world.
Mm-hmm. So who are some of the most dominant players statistically?
Well, in our cloth league, it's Justin Payan by like a pretty statistically wide margin. But I think that is a good question. Who else has got an answer outside of the local league, which is where most of the numbers are stuck in my head?
So Justin was dominant in all categories at API
I
as
was
well.
going to say he was like number one.
Yeah,
Anyway.
just out there farming
Touch
stats,
LA.
not even on purpose, right? And you know, he's also in the player rankings for Dodgeball Hub, right at the top for cloth as well. I think everybody knows Justin's the GOAT, and the numbers kind of prove. Hashimoto stands out everywhere he goes. You know, and so, you know, they're very different players. Eli's a little bit more flashy, but so consistent too. Justin, the thing that I love about watching Justin play is like the economy of movement, right? Just like he's like, the ball is this big. I don't need to jump 3 feet to the side. I need to lift my leg. And I feel like he's got one of the things that's underrated as like a athlete just in general is like his eyesight has to be so amazing to be able to just track all those balls, make the plays he does, make the catch he made in Tucson last year off that ball with the no sting ball up in the air, you know, just Justin doing Justin things. And then another one actually that's kind of interesting that we haven't talked about much is DeMonte on the pitch.
Ooh.
Because DeMonte has worked really, really hard in his pitch, and you can see it, but also his survivability up high is probably better than almost anybody's because he's able to make catches that close that other people can't. And then the last one that I want to put out there was when we did stats for the thing, and Aaron Goodwin on the pitch as well for Hex was like the connection between him and Cody was some of the best pitch plays I've ever seen. And I think like those types of things are some of the best stuff that we see out there for specific aspects of the game.
I think one of the best players we saw play, JD helped me remind me what tournament it was, but Katie Sanchez, who like probably never got eliminated from her team.
That was nationals this past year. Like
just
she
like,
was,
and it was just like, hey, when is she ever
100% survivability, right?
Yeah,
like,
no.
On the defensive end, she was 100% survive. The only times she got out was because she got caught.
Yeah.
And I think this also happened with Eli Hashimoto for a different division. Like, so those two, defensively, 100% survivability, only eliminated because their throws were caught. And Katie's was a little like more special in my opinion, just because they scored 6 points. The final score was 6-3. Katie was on court, was playing all 6 of those points. Those 3 points that they lost, she was resting.
Dominant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you're in a rhythm and seeing a player just perform that way, I mean, I don't know about the rest of the guys, but I'm in like rooting for them. I was like, oh my god, like I don't want to, score or stat something that's gonna make your numbers go down because you're playing so good. I think that happened when I was scoring a game with Eric Jones. He just like he didn't do too much, but he had like almost 100% accuracy throughout the whole game because he threw maybe like 6, 7 throws, but they were just outs every single time. And it's like, oh my god, he has the ball. Like, don't throw. I don't want to mess up your numbers, right? So I really get excited when I see someone like that who's just killing it because then I'm excited to do their stats more. I'm like, all right, let me get more. Let me get you another hit. Let me get you another, catch or something. So yeah, things like that are really fun.
Joey?
Well, I mean, I did start this off by saying Justin Pyan in our statistical juggernaut category. Um, but I'm just trying to think of other people specifically because I think it's interesting once it gets to a certain level of volume, right? Like you just mentioned Eric as well, where it's like, all right, he was having a great game, but he wasn't throwing all that many. Uh, so right now, my brain is just, I think if I had my computer, it could look at all of my stats in the history, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is the match that stands out. But right now, I just don't have it in front of me.
No, you're good. Let's move on to the next question. Why is tracking stats so important?
For me, it's because I love numbers and manipulating numbers in certain ways to show things. So I just love numbers. I work in data for my life work, so my life work for my real job. So it's just fun for me.
Yeah, 2027, Munchie's competing in the Excel Olympics. We're gonna get him there.
We're trying. We're trying.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Wait, is this an actual thing?
There's like an Excel
Actually,
esports
I
competition that
just
Microsoft
discovered
hosts.
the
Yeah, it's
Excel
crazy.
report. Yes, and I'm interested. Let's say that.
Okay. Let's get our boy
I've been
there.
Yeah.
videos of what they do, and I will say I'm a little just nervous, but maybe it's just because I haven't had to practice and I don't have the time pressure on me yet, but nothing that can't be done.
2027 is a long way. You got it.
Exactly.
JD?
I'm sorry, what was the question again? I got
No, you're
distracted.
good.
Olympics.
Why is tracking stats so important?
Okay, yeah. So one part of it definitely is to like legitimize dodgeball as a sport. Every team sport has like a box score, has numbers to prove who is a better player than another, which team is better than another. So I think that is one of the ways that dodgeball can be legitimized by, and just casual viewers looking at it and understand like, oh yeah, I see this person throwing this many times and they hit like at a 40% rate versus someone that hit at a 20% rate, and kind of like gauge, okay, this is like one of the better players of this sport and not just something that people turn into a joke or a meme about the movie. So that is like my personal goal for it.
Does anyone have anything else to add?
I would just say very quickly, like the reason that I love stats as like an athlete and in general, and as somebody who, strives for constant improvement, is it's very hard to quantify how you improve if you don't have direct numbers, and it can be very easy to get disillusioned very quickly. And getting better is not about giant leaps, right? You're not going to be like brand new rookie player and then next season you're going to be Eli Hashimoto, right? You're going to take 4 or 5 seasons to slowly increase your survivability, slowly increase your accuracy, and your hit rate, as Joey talked about. And having the stats to help that helps reinforce what you are doing well and that you are improving. Without that, it can be very difficult. You can get very disillusioned, but also you can kind of miss aspects of your game where you think you're good and you're really not. ever since we started doing stats and I really started tracking them just for myself, I realized I'm pretty much a terrible blocker and I should just not have a ball in hand. But that's like one thing that I know like now I shouldn't, but also I need to go back and work on that on my own and really focus on improving my blocking game just in general to get better at it. And without stats, it's hard to say if that's the case. And that's where I feel like it's important. And also being able to compare yourself to these top players as well. Like if you see that, average level of a top USA player is like, 85, 84% survivability and a pretty high hit rate, then you know where you need to get to kind of get to that level statistically. And then the other piece of that is like is only one piece of the puzzle, right? There's the mental game of dodgeball too, which just goes uncalculated that I think, is kind of the next step for growth. But you got to have your baseline there first before you can really focus on that part.
Yeah. I'll go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, I think every.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, Munchie, you go. You go.
I was gonna say, what I like about stats is it gives us really a history of the sport. To Justin's point of seeing your growth, right? But you can see the progress of the sport itself. Where did you come from as teams? Joey mentioned he was on many teams before, so it'd be cool to see like his trajectory. What was he when he was like in Tempo versus this team versus that team, right? So that to me is really cool to see the growth of not just the individual but the sport itself.
So maybe I shouldn't have let you go, because I was going to say something similar. But everyone has made great points, and I think it's all part of it. But for me, it's like it's the story of dodgeball, right? It's kind of like the Matrix, right? You can look at the stats and you know what happened in the game, but it just gives you another level in order to appreciate it and understand what happened. And you also get some great stories. Like you can see a game that the numbers don't quite make sense, right? Where you're like, how did this happen with these numbers? And then you want to go look at it, right? How did they win this? When did these catches happen? This person has 7 and they lost. Like how is that even possible? And so I think that storytelling thing, which is what allows people to talk about something at length, right? If you don't have the information, if you don't have the data, you can't really talk about it without backing it up in some way. You're just going, based on your own experience. And we don't have a whole lot of people who other even players consider experts necessarily. So we can't have people looking in and creating more dodgeball media, which helps grow everything. Every sport out there has commentators, and commentators use the information provided from the stats in order to enhance the viewing experience, enhance their storytelling of what's going on in the game. If we don't have that, people can't do that, which then just can't take things to the next level where almost all of us want dodgeball to go.
Leave it to the new production people to talk about story. I love it.
All right, moving on to the next question. Do you guys ever get burnt out?
Yes.
JD had to go on vacation last year after nationals. He was like, I'm done for a month. I'm taking a month off from stats. You guys have to take this month.
JD. Yeah.
Yeah, and that vacation didn't even turn into a vacation from stats because
whose fault is that? Hold up, sir.
Hey, I'm not complaining about that part, so let's just get that on record right now because I needed something to do when I was on the plane and I was taking.
Sure. What did you end up doing if not that, sir?
It was a 12-hour flight, dude. Like I needed something. I can't just sleep the entire 12 hours. Then I would be.
I want to say like a kudos
transport.
to JD because he worked his butt off last year to do a lot of matches.
He did.
We all contribute in some way, but JD went full in, and he did some stuff just because he loves the game and he loves teams. And we're joking about it here, but all the deflection catch stuff he did on a flight to and from Japan on his vacation, essentially, just because he loves doing stats. So, he loves it. I think we all love it. You do get burnt out, right? Like what, over a month since kickoff, and we haven't tackled those matches.
I mean,
Oh.
hey,
Sorry for
we've
the
been doing stuff for USA Dodgeball,
Yeah.
like spoiler alert, like in the background. So got to get these tournaments off the ground first. So apologies to any teams that played in kickoff that were gonna do your stats. That's the delay.
Joey?
Oh, I was just gonna say that really JD hard carried 2025 in terms of the stats portion of the stats crew. I like we were saying there that we've all contributed in different ways, but like I think if we're talking about time of possession here, JD is the leader of the stats crew in stats produced. So thank you very much, JD, for your 2025 applause all around.
We got to see JD's stats. Like JD's wrapped. You spent 4,000 minutes, probably way more than that,
Yeah.
doing stats.
I don't even want to think about that.
We're tracking.
All right, my next question, and I do want to say that I had these notes and I sent them out to you guys like 4 or 5 days ago. Boston Dodgeball actually posted something about this yesterday. Could we ever see a fantasy dodgeball league?
This was actually floated around when we were doing stats in LA. Like the first go around, it was like, oh, like let's see if we could turn this into fantasy dodgeball. And this was before sports betting, really took off. So it was probably going to be less problematic than it would be today. But it was a few people discussing like, oh, like since we're doing stats, like how do we do fantasy dodgeball? And I wish that idea had gotten off the floor just because I love doing fantasy sports. So to see another league doing fantasy dodgeball, I'm curious to see how they would operate it and what categories they track, and honestly, who is the best GM, in all honesty.
Yeah. I wonder what they're going to track. So like, I think there's probably only 4 stats I probably would track. So it'd be hits, catches.
Games played, because you can be benched. You can pick up someone to come in, off the bench, because if you're going to do fantasy, to get some bench players.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good one. I think catches thrown. But yeah, I mean, this idea was floated out there forever ago, and I'm going to shout him out, but shout out Adam Demir. He was talking about this from Space Cadets forever ago.
Birthday has me.
He wanted to do it, and he was talking to me about it. I'm like, dude, it would take way too long. But imagine fantasy dodgeball like does actually kick off, and it's like 7 years from now, and teams are throwing matches or something. We got bookies or something. That'd be funny. But I love this idea.
So I think it's a terrible idea. And I think it's a terrible idea for many reasons. But we did this once. I did it for Club Waka in Hollywood. We did a fantasy league for one season. Now, not everyone was involved, and we were tracking the stats behind the scenes. And then when people found out we were tracking the stats to do this, some people were not very happy about it. But with the way Boston Dodgeball League is doing it, or seems to be doing it, they are opting in. You have to opt in, I think, to be a part of it, which is like, all right, that's a good starting point. But what it comes down to at this moment in time, none of us are getting paid, right? And so if you're playing dodgeball and now you can directly affect the outcome of something else by your choices on the court, I just like in the NBA where people are getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars per game, people were just busted for like point spread changes, right? So like conceptually I see why people would want this, and I could see why it could be a good thing, but I think it's just too interconnected right now for it to work super well. And I think I'm pessimistic on this one. I think a lot of people are going to get really mad about a lot of really dumb stuff, and it's going to cause a lot of stress for no reason. Okay, that's the end of my pessimism. Hopefully you guys are more optimistic, and it sounds like you are. Great.
So we're not inviting Joey to the opening of the fantasy dodgeball league, right?
He's gonna be our president.
Yeah.
We'll plan a coup. We'll mutiny if Joey's president.
But I do have their post pulled up. So yeah, it does say private dodgeball fantasy league for all local BDL affiliated players. So I absolutely love the idea. Obviously, people are gonna get butthurt. There's obviously gonna be a draft, so someone's gonna be like, "What? I didn't go first, or I didn't go first round, or something." But I think it's a cool concept. But there are always gonna be plenty of people that get butthurt.
Yeah, I think if people are into it and they sign on, I think it'll be fun. You know, I think people love fantasy. So I think, you know, it's in the long term, it's gonna be something like if we want dodgeball to grow, it's gonna be something that happens. It's just where like, dude, you can prop bet on anything nowadays. Like there will be prop bets in dodgeball within 5 years. Guarantee it. Probably sooner. Does Bo win a no sting tournament? That's my next prop bet. Okay. I guarantee he's winning at least one more.
What would the odds be on that?
I don't know. He says he quits, but you know, he said he quit last year too.
Yeah, I don't want. Bo was asking me this past weekend. He was like, "So, are you doing Salt Lake City?" And this was before when it was no sting. And I'm like, "Yeah, I think we're doing it." He's like, "Oh, okay." Like, "Oh, are you?"
I told him he has to do one more so he can hand off the crown. Like that's just how it is.
It's hilarious that last year that we took flight, we took foam, like that was our highest ball type, what we cared the most about, and then like cloth, and then no sting, and then no sting was like our best ball type. It wasn't even remotely close.
and I don't mean any shade by this, but statistically, Bo is not a good no sting player. I'm sorry, Bo, but like you can tell you don't like the ball type because your stats reflect it.
Last year at Nationals in the very first series, he showed up a little bit late, hops on the court. He launched the ball probably 40 rows up, and it was hilarious, and it was on the stream court, and I could not stop laughing.
Yeah.
And it got hit out on a ricochet play like right after that too.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
man.
I love
Poor
it.
Bo. We love him, though.
We do.
All right, I got two more questions. Second last question. Do you guys think analytics will eventually change how dodgeball is played?
100%. 100%.
I agree with
All these-
that.
Has already started doing their own stats, so it's just going to follow along. All the masses are going to do it. Everybody's going to want it. It's going to change sport for sure.
Yeah.
I think. I'm sorry. Go ahead, JD.
Yeah, someone somewhere is going to find some niche stat that is going to be revolutionary and
Huge. It's going to be you.
someone somewhere that may or may not be me will find some niche stat that nobody looks at or thinks about, and they will essentially just revamp their team's play style, and that team is going to rack up like an entire year's worth of wins for tournaments. So it's just a matter of time.
So Sean Wheeler was on the Rush On podcast August 7th, 2023. I listened to that podcast, and he said in the podcast that a game will be determined within the first 7 throws of that game. Now, it's 2023. The rules are a little bit different, but what do you guys think about that?
That's probably correct. So actually, we did a stat with Playback Review just saying like, how likely are you to win a match if you get the first kill? And it's like 65 to 70% if you just get that first kill. That's huge, right? Like that's already a huge impetus. And that like puts in context that opening rush, getting that first kill off that opening rush, it just shows how important it is to master that aspect of the game. And that affects the meta, right? Like if you know that first kill is that important to your guys' overall success, it's even more important at Cloth, right? Because you're up a player and now you have the advantage the whole game. And then it becomes like a chess match of just kind of trading pieces back and forth. And as long as you're up at least one player by the end of 3 minutes, you win. So I think little things like that we're going to see be very, very important. And I think he's absolutely right. I think, if you look at the best players and their survivability and how long it takes to get a kill, whoever gets that first kill is most likely to win. And it's usually about 5 to 7 throws.
I think what is going to happen next. So first, it's going to be people analyzing existing stats to figure out the patterns in order to figure out who's successful and why are they successful. And then people will emulate that, right? And then the next step beyond that is trying something different and seeing if it's successful against those things. And we will eventually get those numbers. But like even right now, like I would like to see a team do something. All 3 balls are to the left. They don't have a single ball on the right side. Just see what happens. If you completely play out of the left side, will you win? Will you lose? How does this work? If you move the balls to the play 3 balls in the middle instead of on the corners. Like I want to see some people do these different things and then start tracking their successes and tracking their numbers in that. And so, yes, the short answer is yes. It's definitely going to change everything. It's just how and when are people going to take these advances and make them a part of their game.
I love that. So I played in a Philly dodgeball tournament 3 years ago, and we tried for like a series or two, Akil and I, where he was playing corner and I was playing inside corner next to him, but he didn't have the ball, I did. It was a little tough with spacing and everything, and no one really challenged him because they knew that I would just get the throw right away. And it was a while ago. I played way too much dodgeball, so I don't think he got out, but that was something that we toyed with. In smaller leagues or like more rec stuff, sometimes if it's like a no ball blocking, I'll say, hey, let's do 3 balls on the left side or 2 balls on the left, and they're like, you don't have a ball on your side, or there's 2 people in front of you with the ball. I'm like, I don't care. Like, you guys win your side. Let them throw all the balls at me. It doesn't matter. We'll win off of that. And then one other thing too, and this is kind of a throwback, but when we used to play at Sky Zone way back in the day, 3 minutes, no staying, 5 balls, we would play Kill the Comp a lot. Like when Dylan and Quan and Bert and Taylor and all of them were like very, very young. And we had a rule too. So if we won the first minute of that game, so if we got a hit, they would dump all the balls like almost immediately. So they would give us ball control immediately. All we had to do is get 1 or 2 hits, play smart. Didn't have to get everyone out because it's 3 minutes. You win the game if you have more people on your side. We'd win the tournament.
Yeah, I think cloth is very, so I think there's 2 things. One, I would love to have somebody do a deep dive analysis of the way that Team USA played cloth in Worlds last year, because I think they played a style of dodgeball that was very different from what the big guns in Austria and the UK were used to. Very catch heavy, a little bit slower, not as fast, not as many huge arms up front, and came as close as it can get to winning the whole thing, right? And it would be interesting to see an analysis of how that can potentially change the cloth meta. I think they like if I had to just go, a high level, I think their meta knowledge of the game was probably better, interestingly enough. They played the overall meta strategy of cloth better than Austria and Great Britain did. The thing that's actually really interesting coming out soon, Playback Review is working on this, is head-to-head matchups. And I think that's a really interesting aspect statistically that we're going to see more of in dodgeball in the next year or 2, is like, what are your stats against that opposite corner? Oh, that's a bad matchup for you. Let's switch sides. Let's get the inside corner on the outside because that's a more favorable matchup for us. Just like in the NBA, when you're matching up against defenders, I think that's something that's going to be really interesting to see stats help prove out, because they're just adding that feature now of head-to-head matchups for players, which I'm excited about.
Very excited.
And it's like, and that's just one of those things we do all the time. I mean, maybe not everybody does it, but I'll often switch positions. Like I'll switch out a corner. I'm like, this isn't working, right? Somebody else do this because at minimum, I know I'm doing a bad job. Maybe you have the potential to do a better job. And, when it comes to, like you said, specifically corners, I think it's really easy to know that fairly quickly, right? But if you have that existing information already, you can set your lineup before the match even starts. You know this is what we're going to do before we have to fail several times in a row to realize that this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
And I think, that'll change things, like you said, dramatically. Have lineup changes based on other teams' personnel, like all other sports generally do. So I think that's going to be a really cool feature, and to track that over time, which is, I think, one of the other things that we're behind on with a lot in dodgeball, is just the history of it. Like, without this information, it's like we just did it and then it disappeared forever. And like that's pretty cool on one hand, but at the same time, it's really hard to move forward when your foundation shifts every single year.
That would be a cool stat to keep track of, like how many times, or like I guess the win percentage if one corner switches with the other corner in a game. I know all of us on this call right now, like I haven't really gotten an opportunity to play against you guys. Maybe you guys have seen me play, but I love switching corners in the middle of a game. It could be something where I'm like, I know that person, if I switch corners, it's just the easiest out to me. And maybe it's not the easiest out for whoever else is in that corner, or vice versa, where I'm just like, hey, I know if I switch in the other corner, they like to overload that side. And I know, like, for example, Matt can't get going here because there's two balls in front of him constantly. Let me take that side. Let's run the offense through the other side. So that'd be, I feel like, a pretty cool stat to keep track of.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. Didn't put in the notes. Do we have maybe like a gentleman's bet, or maybe like you guys play against each other and you guys keep tracks, stats of that, or maybe, I don't know, a secret headshot bet or something?
I mean,
JD.
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're helping fundraise to send Joey to Worlds. All right, that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a gentleman's bet because we all play on different teams and we play in local leagues and we play in Premier Tour together, and it was kind of like, hey, every hit you get on that player, you owe them $1. Every hit they get on you, you owe them $1. And we have a spreadsheet to track it all, and it was like $1 a hit, $3 a catch, $5 a headshot. Because Joey, we had this conversation with Joey. I think he was talking to me and JD, right? When you get up close to somebody on the line, and it's like you don't want to hit them in the head when you play rec league, right? Like that's not the way. But at the pro level, like it's like you just got to aim for the head, like you kind of do. Sorry, not sorry, but throw it anywhere else against a good player, and it's more likely to catch. So Joey's like, just hit him in the head, man. They shouldn't have been up there anyway. So it's kind of him encouraging us to hit each other in the head when we get in precarious positions and fix our position.
The answer, okay, the way to say that is, when it comes to competitive dodgeball, as the rules currently are, throwing at someone's head is a statistically better throw than throwing at most other parts of their body, especially if they are up close, right? It's very hard for someone to make it like partially why DeMonte makes all these catches is because people throw directly at where he wants them to throw. And he knows that's going to happen because you're both charging and it's hard to reposition your body. If you're trying to throw low and you're that close, you're never going to throw it low enough. Your release point's just too high. So headshots are both on JD very funny and also a statistically good throw in general.
All right, two things I have to add to that. I always say faces or laces. If you throw at me and you hit me in the face, I don't care. Like, I'm on a court. Honestly, low key, that's a sign of respect. Like, if you are putting it in my chest, I'm like, you're an idiot. I'm going to catch it every time. You better hit me in the face. Number one. Number two, JD, I was a little nervous. I might have thrown and hit you in the face pretty hard last year, and I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, it was you. Here's the funny story. So I actually did show it to your team. I did not know it was you. I did show it to your team, and they all asked me, why did you keep this clip? And I straight up told them, I thought it was a very well framed play, and I'm like, yeah, that's it's dead center, like it catches everything. And I actually turned it into a YouTube short on my on my account, and I not only sent it to my team, my chat with the guys, and then I published it on my channel. So it is public. So I'm not hiding that by any means.
But does this mean
That
that JD owes Ryan $5?
Oh,
I think so.
freaking Eric Nelson said that out loud, and that's probably how you got this information.
I have my ways, but no. When I saw this, I was actually talking to my wife earlier, and I said, honestly, that might be the second worst headshot I've ever given someone in my entire dodgeball career. I
That was
really
not even
hope
the worst one I took, like in general.
it's one of those balls I just picked up and I threw, and it's like this ball is not properly inflated. Just the way your body was positioned. As soon as it came out of my hand, I'm like, oh my god, like this is gonna be bad.
Yeah, people thought I actually died. Like when that happened.
It happened. I think it might have happened a second time or to one of your teammates. And after that, I'm like, guys, I'm sitting like, we're good. I'm not hitting anyone else in the face.
Like
We've all
it
done
was
that.
it was funny. So like I have no like hard feelings about it, especially since I did publish it. Oh, here. I will send it to I'll
Oh
send
boy.
it to you.
Oh man. All right. Well, I guess you're a good sport about it. All right, that's all I got though for questions from me. Let's move on to questions from the people. Thank you to everyone who sent them in. First question, Marissa asks, "What's the coolest feedback you guys have received so far?"
You guys suck.
Why did you use that picture of me?
You're doing this wrong. I think you got my numbers wrong. Can you redo this?
Like,
Best.
but
I mean,
That means, no, this is why it's the best. That means you looked at the stat, you cared enough to comment on it, and you're welcome.
If you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
Listen,
if you don't like your stats, play better.
that
Honestly,
part.
like the biggest compliment for me is when like big name teams ask if we're going to do their stats or do stats for certain matches, right? Like it's nice to see people excited about the stats we put out there and to want us to do it. So,
I agree.
I love that. Actually, shout out to Roman Liebel, who talked to JD for weeks just about stats and how we were tracking it because we did a Mavericks match last year. And he talked to JD for a while about it, I think, and it was great. I love it when people engage with us and really dig into it and ask us about it and how we're tracking it and that kind of stuff. So
Next,
we're nerds, so talk to us about it.
yeah.
Next question from Mackenzie Wilson. Mackenzie asks, "What are each of your roles on the crew?"
That's hard to define. Like when we first started, like Dustin was definitely our quality control guy. Munchie was our tech guy. Joey was the one that kind of wrangled us all together. And I would be the person that people go to if they were not happy with their stats. Because
Customer service.
Yeah.
the complaint department. Hey, they're not gonna yell at these guys. So I'm like, all right, fine. I will be the bad guy in this group and break it down why their numbers don't look as good as they want them to be.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of assuming you guys just all put your hands in and say team on three, and one person might be like, "Hey, I'll tackle the first half of this. Someone tackle the second half," or
Yeah, sometimes it works like that. I mean, each of us has kind of our own specialties. Munchie is definitely like our data, guy, but he also really holds us accountable for, tracking the amount of time that we put in and working with teams. Joey is actually really good at like talking to people who want stats done and working with them on pricing. We've actually done like paid stats for some people over the last year. And sort of keeping us all honest and making sure that we're being realistic. about like what we charge, but also that we're getting paid fairly kind of thing. And he works on a lot of some of the business aspects. Munchie handles our relationship with Playback Review for the most part, working really closely with those guys. JD has done significant amount, like probably more than double everyone else's, definitely more than all three of us combined in terms of actual like hands-on stats work last year. And I'm just here to make them do other stuff. But no, I mean, we all contribute in various ways, right? So yeah, it's a little bit of everything.
Look, he's not going to talk about himself, but Dustin is basically our project manager and helps like get shit done also. So, you know, I'll toot his horn if he's not going to toot his own horn. That didn't came out the way I wanted it to.
You guys are all team. All right, next question. Jeans asks, what made you guys want to start doing stats for such a crazy sport?
Joey made me want to do stats.
Well, I think we kind of answered that one earlier a little bit. But for me, what it was like on a super base level of why I wanted to do it was just like, I bet it would be fun. Like, really, I was like, I bet this could be fun. I think other people would think this is a fun thing to see how they did. And the leagues that we were playing in at the time and still generally are like pretty competitive leagues. And we hit our limit oftentimes on like the amount of people that can register for the league, and it's a draft league too, so it's not bring your own team style. And so because of that, it's like, well, the tracking of stats through those leagues is going to be a little bit more interesting, right? Is how well do you do on this team and other aspects like that. And so I think at the beginning it was just, I bet this would be fun. And then one of my favorite sayings that I've found in film and that also just exists in the world is, we didn't get into this because we thought it would be easy. You know, like it's just like, all right, whoops. We accidentally jumped in and now it's like, great. I think I just butchered that quote. Yes, that's it. We started this because we thought it would be easy. That's the quote.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, again, like I've tracked stats twice. I did one for a tournament, and I actually did one. This was probably about 2-ish years ago in one of the Connecticut leagues, and a player was talking to me and was like, "Yo, I got almost like 30 hits tonight," and I'm like, "Okay," and he's like, "Yeah, that was like really good." And then, not to disparage like one player, you know, versus another, but I'm like, "Hey, like, I don't even know how we like." I guess it's tougher for you guys, but like in our league, it's a lot easier to be like, this is tier 1, this is tier 2, you know? And I'm like, hey, like you didn't really get anyone top tier out. You got like this player, this player, this player, this player, this player out, but you didn't get the top 3 players out at all. So like, yeah, you got like 27 outs, but a lot of the other players on our team couldn't have done the same thing. So that's the only other time that I've tracked stats, but it's a lot of time, it's a lot of effort, and it's definitely underappreciated for sure.
So you got into stats because it was out of spite, is what you're saying.
Honestly, low key, yeah. It's the first tournament to these players, and I'm not gonna name names, but they're just like, I think I can do it. And I'm like, huh?
What tournament was it?
It was a Sky Zone tournament. So we were missing some of our bigger arms, and they're like, I think I can do it. And I'm like, I hope you can. I don't think we're gonna win this tournament. So I'm gonna put you in these positions, but I want you guys to see like, you guys aren't ready yet. You guys will be ready. You're just not ready right now. So that's the tournament that I tracked hits and catches thrown and throws, obviously. And their accuracy was like 11% or something. It was very, very, very bad. And we did not, I think we like lost on the semis or something like that. But I'm like, this is why like here's like the top player and, you know, the top 2 players, whatever. And then here's the bottom 3. And the bottom 3 was like 8, 11, 17. I'm like, these numbers are terrible. This is why we didn't win.
Yeah. I mean, there have been a few people that have paid us to do stats out of spite. So
those Ricochet stats may or may not have been done because certain leagues and certain organizations were exaggerating how often they happen. And we decided, yeah, no, that's definitely not how often they happen.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right. Next question. Rachel asks, what's your favorite tournament and why? Let's go in a circle. Dustin.
My favorite tournament, probably the thing, honestly. There's never a bad match. I would love at some point in time to work with Lucas and Seattle Dodgeball to do stats for every match. That would be the dream. We would need twice as many people, at least.
Yeah. JD.
Yeah, the thing, just because you get some people from Canada, some people from the US, and you'll get some crossover with those teams. You'll have Canadians playing on an American team and vice versa. And like it's pretty much always high level and high quality matches. So like for like really to put yourself in a good comparison with some of the best players in the continent, like that is like probably the best place to do it.
Joey.
So I guess I have like a couple answers. So my favorite tournament that I've watched has probably been The Thing. I think viewing that tournament has been the most fun I've ever had watching dodgeball like remotely. So they got that going for them. Playing, honestly, it was probably the 2024 World Championships. That was a pretty incredible run, falling just short, but that was an amazing experience. And I thought that that was a pretty phenomenally well done tournament. So I really enjoyed being a part of it for many reasons. And then uh, ones that I've played in like a bunch of different times. I think that Sin City is one of the most fun tournaments I've ever been to. I've been to it 5 times now, and it's just a great time playing against a ton of different people, and it's a different style of dodgeball, different ball type from what I usually play, but like I still play a lot of no sting. It's like that's just a very fun tournament. So I'd say like those three.
Munchie.
Uh, Similar sentiments to watch. The Thing is really great to watch. Really fun. Wake up on a Saturday morning and start watching that tournament all day. One of the ones I look forward to, actually, though, the ones I'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot dodgeball's on. But that's the one I'll definitely want to plan around. And then just to follow kind of Joey's thought process in terms of my favorite one to have been playing in the last couple of years has been Mile High Shootout out in Denver. So much fun, so exciting. The Dodgeball After Dark is super exciting as well. For those of you that haven't participated, I played the first year and then kind of volunteer for staff the next couple of years for Dodgeball After Dark. But Mile High Shootout is really, really fun. It's coming up in May again. But I'd say for playing, I'd have a blast on that. And it's no sting. This year's actually foam, which I'm kind of excited about. Want to play less no sting. I love my cloth ball, and I play good at foam too. But yeah, so I'd say a lot of fun in Mile High.
Okay. Like those answers. I didn't ask it before, but I think this would be a good time to ask. Would you guys ever consider doing stats for big tournaments or big organizations like USA Dodgeball Clash Kickoff Worlds, The Thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
I mean, we did a
fire.
paid gig with we did a paid gig with for API doing live stats this past year. We did like 6, 7 matches, 6 to 8 matches, I think, for like semis all the way towards finals for all ball types, switching in and out with Davey and his team for a couple matches so we could get a lunch break in there. But I would love like at some point to take the Elite 8 division or top 12 division, what do we call them in USA Dodgeball, and do stats for every single match. Record them all and do stats for every single one, and then send it out like a month after the tournament and be like, hey, here's the total stats for every single match and what that looked like for everybody. I think that would be amazing, but we got to get paid because that's a phenomenal amount of work. And any other tournament like that too, right? I think would be a lot of fun to really track that top tier of stats and put it out there.
That'd be
I agree.
sick.
I agree. Let's do them all. I love it. I think JD likes to do it. We all kind of love to do it. So
I mean, yeah.
when you get someone who likes to do something, just give them the time, the day, the effort. That the cost is good, and you'll get some good. We'll provide some really great work.
Yeah.
Exactly. It just
Yeah,
kind of
we-
comes down to what's actually achievable with what we have. Like that's the thing is like, man, it would be awesome. It would be awesome to have those things. What does it take to actually do those things are two very, very disparate ideas. And like dodgeball's running into that all the time, but I think more people are thinking about that and really pushing to make it better now. Like I just see a lot more people asking the same questions and then moving in the same direction. I'm like, okay, I feel like we're getting there, but I've also seen this happen several times before. Like this
Yeah.
this isn't a new conversation, it's just new to a lot of people.
I
Yeah, I
love
mean,
to. I would love to see stats come out from these big organizations or tournaments. Like, could you imagine playing in Toronto kickoff and then like I don't know, a few weeks later, a month later, just seeing the stats and like the leader in hits, leader in catches, leader in blocks, like leader and like whatever.
My dream to have real time stats day of. Obviously, we're far from there. We're just a small team of four. It's dodgeball, as we all know, is mostly a volunteer position anywhere. It's a lot of time dedicated to it, but you got to be passionate about it. That's one thing for sure. If you're passionate about it, you're going to get that good amount of effort from the person, and you're going to get or the production at the end of the day is going to be really good quality, right? And that's what we all care about. That's why we're all on top of each other. We're always, hey, we've done this. You take a review. You take a look. We need, we bounce off ideas, not just stats, but in life in general. We bounce off a lot of ideas off each other because we trust each other. We know we're going to like hold each other accountable. So we're here to do the work.
yeah, because that Seattle tournament, Mitch actually reached out to us and asked, "Hey, who's going? Is it possible to try and do live stats like in person?" So that's it was just me at that tournament, and we were trying like a good amount of new things, like not only just stats in person, but that's when we were debuting our new graphics that we created, and starting from that tournament onward. And I think people seem to have liked the new format that we're using with the box score, the players images, the background of the city that is hosting the tournament. So like just the presentation alone, I think that also adds to just the growth of dodgeball. If you can present it well enough that even one casual person like who doesn't know as much like takes a look, takes a lingering glance at it, like it'll eventually catch on.
No, for sure. You guys do such an amazing job, and I think the graphics are really good. And the graphics are tough too, so I think you guys do a really good job.
Thank you. Thank you, Joanna Munoz, for helping us fine-tune those graphics also.
Shout out, Joanna. Okay, next question. I'm gonna skip that other one. Let's go, Garrett. So Garrett Jacobus asks, how much do I need to Venmo you to get my numbers boosted? Do you guys take bribes?
100%.
I don't. I was gonna say we can talk about that offline.
Yeah.
But listen,
Garrett, you find me in Tempe this
also-
weekend, Garrett, and we'll figure it out. All right? Don't worry.
there's a
What do you mean
multi-ball
he's got
club.
110% accuracy?
Good to go.
I'm trying to lead the tournament in hits this weekend and not even go.
There it is. I love it.
All right, next question. Lovey asks, how did you guys come to the conclusion on what stats to start tracking / prioritizing?
I think we started with the basics, your catches, your kills when we were on the spreadsheet, because there was also, we didn't want to do too much, because when you manually work on a spreadsheet, it's you really get dissuaded or not persuaded, right, to not do that anymore. So we really had to minimize that. And then once we got PBR and got access to everything, I mean, for me, I was a kid in a candy store. I was like, guys, we could do it all. And they kind of wrangled me and was like, let's focus in on what we really need to do. So it's at the end of the day what helps us put together the your accuracy, your dodging percentages, right? Is really at the end of the day that I think the main standard ones we use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think how a lot of it started was basically, well, what happens most in a game, right? What are the things that happen the most? Well, obviously throws is huge. And then from there, we were able to expand basically with formulas, right? Because it's like, all right, well, how many times did you hit somebody when you threw? Right. So if you calculate just the kills and then the throws, it's like, okay, well, now you can get an accuracy stat. And so I think it all just kind of started from there. Um, it's just that base level, and then what we've tried to figure out how to add things later is like, well, what changes the game? What kind of a stat actually does, like we talked about a bunch, show an important change in a game in a moment. But for at this point, it's kind of just like what isn't something that can easily be tracked, because it all comes down to time. If you can't do it efficiently, well, then we just can't realistically do it. Somebody could go back and go comb through all of it and find certain stats and adjust certain things. Like, even there's a super fun stat, like we were talking about in baseball, but it's also in basketball. It's like, where does somebody shoot from on the court? I know we talked about trying to track that. Where do throws on the court come from? But like now, you have to have an overhead map and map out every single throw that comes across the court. And it's like, well, that's going to be insane. You could maybe track a player in a game, but do that for an entire tournament? It's just not achievable with what we currently have at our fingers. So it's like, you just got to do those base level things that are easy to track, and that also people who, like JD said, who are casual people coming to it, or not quite as concerned about the deep metrics, what are they interested in? Right? People want to know how many home runs somebody hit. People don't necessarily care about their on base percentage to the same degree. Like, they do, but like, which one is more interesting to your average person?
No, that's a good point. More marketable. But that would be sick though if there was like a heat map for a player, how many, like, where they got their outs more often. So it could be like, I don't know, I play in the corner, so like it'd be from the corner, but like it'd be maybe from the middle because like I like to run crashes. So my hits are more in the middle of the court on the left side rather than the back line. Or like a player like Matt Levine, he likes a home counter a lot. So it might be on the right side of the court, but the back line more.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to see just like a player stat page, as in like when we go into a finals match or whatever, and it's got the full roster, right? And it shows everybody, shows like their throw types, like, this person's got a curveball and a fastball and a slider. Their average throw speed is this, their rush speed is this, right? Their accuracy is this, their survivability is this for the tournament. And it just goes through the whole roster and shows those stats. I think that would be a super cool addition to the sport. And you can get there with a lot of it for just basic stat tracking, like Joey was saying, just algorithms. So, I think that would improve the presentation like tenfold for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right, last question from questions from the people. Thank you to everyone who sent them in again. Audrey Weber asks, what areas would you like to expand on for upcoming events?
I would say live stats. I would love to do more live stats. I would love to get better at providing live stats so that it can be used as part of commentary and part of the production. I think that would be huge. It would be cool to have like a halftime sort of stat synopsis for everybody available in the half. And then have the commentators look at the stats and be like, oh yeah, Eli's on fire today, 90% accuracy with a hit rate of like 4.5 or whatever, right? Like, I think that can really help enhance and paint that picture of, to help tell the story, like Joey said, of a match using statistics.
Yeah, because when we were doing stats for API, they managed to figure out an interface where the commentators actually got to see it like right on the screen in front of them, and they were able to reference it like in real time as we were recording each event that was going on. So to see that at a tournament, like, it made it feel legit.
Yeah, just to echo that, I mean, I know that's something when we first started using PBR, we were trying to implement working with Dodgeball Hub, Dodgeball Live. couldn't really kind of get the kinks worked down right. We're still working on that, but I'd agree like that would be the next evolution for us. Whether it's on site, remote, try to produce some stats live in real time as these tournaments keep growing and growing. It'll only add value to what we offer, what we can provide, what we can do. But definitely for that, a little bit more volunteers as well. Again, volunteering opportunities here. If anyone likes numbers and wants to help out, feel free to reach out. But yeah, I think that'll be the ultimate next level to not just wait for the tournament to finish, get the footage and then do it and produce it. And I don't want to wait a week, a month for the stats. I remember when we were kind of all thinking about, hey, we'll do a tournament, we'll release it in a month or so. And I was like, no, I don't like that timeline. I want us to do better. I want us to make sure this is produced right away. Because in a month timeline, you could already have 2 other tournaments that come by, and here we are, still haven't done kickoff, but it is what it is. But it's that the turnaround time to me is something I think we want to, or at least for me, kind of expand on. But really, to get to real-time stats day of, here you go, put it into that. Like JD said, it felt legit when you saw it playing at API. It was like, oh, cool, this is actually happening right now.
Joey? Go ahead. No, sorry. Go ahead.
Those graphics that we do, so especially those trading card looking graphics, I personally enjoy making those. The where it has their box score, their image, the team they're playing on, and it looks like a sports trading card. If I can find some way to get that produced into a physical card for players, I just think that would be a cool, not only a marketing tool, but a great conversational piece for dodgeball in general. If we want dodgeball to bring people together, hey, yeah, check out this card.
Let's get them.
That would be sick. Joey, have anything else to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're trying to push in the direction that all these guys said, which would be super great. Just increasing our ability to do things live and improving turnaround times. I think those are huge. I think something that I want but isn't achievable exactly at this point, but we kind of did it in our league as well, is I think there's an interesting we have it broken down by player stats, right? But I think when you look at team stats overall over the course of a season or a tournament, I think that's also interesting, right? We were talking about time of possession, but how many kills did a team get versus how many deaths did they have? How many catches did they have? So then it gives you more of a story of what that team's dynamic is, right? And I think that kind of an aspect could be really interesting. And to do that effectively, we would need to do every single game of a tournament. And that is where it gets difficult, is we can only do what we have video access to. So that's number one, usually stuff off of the stream or sometimes recorded things. So every game would have to be recorded. And then that's also additional time. So it's what can we really do? Well, live stats for the games on a stream court or that's being live presented, that's an achievable goal. And so I really like that that's where our heads are at now, is okay, what do we actually have the capacity to do? We have the capacity to pull that off if we can just get a couple of the kinks straightened out. And that's something we're really trying to work on here in the near future.
That would be cool. I know they do the power rankings for certain teams that are on stream courts. So maybe a cool idea would be if you were on the stream court, let's say for Arizona, Hex was on the stream court, Flight was on the stream court, Reboot was on the stream court, whatever. And it would say okay, Flight had, 200. Actually, no, it wouldn't be that high. Well, it could be though, if you played playoffs on stream. I don't know, 120 kills. And then they had 32 catches or something like that. And then you could post a graphic for not a player board, but a team board for teams that played on that court.
I love that. That's the future. It's really thinking of broadcast presentation. I mean, I come from
exactly
production. right? Like, and Joey does too. So like, and we're, of course, we're the both ones that want to tell that story. We want to. What's the story you're telling? What are you presenting to these viewers? Statistics tell a story, tells a history, tells you, to your point, for that entire tournament, this team has, been the highest kills, but got the fourth seed. And, that's why they're in the semifinals or in the finals in this match. This is why they're here, right? It helps the viewer understand what they're seeing.
Yeah. All right. Forgot to ask this another question. Sorry, boys. It is late here. Dustin, I have this question for you. Dustin, you were on the Rushdown podcast a few months ago. Is there anything else that you want to talk about / plug for the upcoming USA Dodgeball Tour this year?
Go to Portland. It's going to be a great no-sting tournament. Portland people are great. They have some amazing ideas. Definitely, if you are a no-sting player, you should go to that tournament. I'm really excited I've checked out over half the venues that we have this year. They're all really good. But honestly, I'm just excited to see how the changes that we've made to match times, to having full 40-minute matches, single ball type weekends, separate finals for men's and women's is going to be huge. So I'm excited to see how all of that plays out this year. And then lastly, if you have feedback or you have ideas, come talk to me. Find me at one of these tournaments. I'll be at every tournament for USA Dodgeball this year. You can come find me. You can tell me what you think is good, what you think is bad, and I'll hear it. I'm already working on plans for 2027. So, come and find me.
Awesome. I love to hear it. I love to hear it. I'll be honest, I like most of the changes, not all.
Yeah? What don't you like?
I don't think I'm the minority here, but I'm not a big fan of the 3 minutes. I think 4 minutes to me, I think
baby program.
I like 4 minutes, and I'll tell you why. So I do think that reffing is tough. So I'm not like, oh man, this ref sucks or like blah blah blah. Reffing is already tough. So I think adding another element, having them have a timer in their hand, making sure that they're resetting everything. I know there's going to be a global clock, but you're not going to have a global 3-minute clock for every court. So I think that's going to be a little bit tough. I think if it was 4 minutes, that'd be cool. I know like Shota and Bo and Dylan were talking about it in our group message, but they're saying that in API, I think it only happened 2 or 3 times. So the odds of it really, I mean, it's definitely going to happen. Don't get me wrong, it's 3 minutes. Yeah. I think if it was 4, it'd be a little bit easier for everyone.
Yeah, when we did the stats for API, and they were 4 minutes, I think in the finals matches, it maybe happened twice. And I think in all cases, it was when teams were trying to kill the clock because they were up 2 or 3 games already. Most games were over by then. I think, this is just my personal, I don't know why this is obviously like USA Dodgeball is trying to match WDBF rules as best as possible. We're anticipating that this is going to be a change that they announced this year. I don't know. My guess is they chose 3 minutes because cloth is 3 minutes and they didn't put a lot more thought into that. But we'll see how it plays out. As we've seen, the WDBF is not afraid of changing the rules for the next cycle if it doesn't work out. I actually am sad that we're going back to points of contact. I really liked no points of contact personally. So, some of the highlights we had this last year, Justin jumping out of bounds and popping a ball never would have happened if there was points of contact requirements. So,
true. Yeah.
Some amazing moments this past year because of it. Those will be sorely missed. Not to say that, 1 point of contact is, but I didn't agree, but I don't always agree with every change. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, we're really just trying to do the best we can for the player base to get as close as we can to WDBF because that's been a big request, and we'll see how things go. There was one change that WDBF made to cloth rules that we did not adopt, which is the weird like cloth deflection catches rule where it hits the player, but then that player's out, but then if it's caught, they're not out, but the thrower's safe. Like they have like weird rules around that. The cloth deflection rule is the same as foam, basically. The ball is live and can be played on by anybody until it's dead. So a catch is a catch, a hit is a hit, and a ball is live until it's dead, and no weird sort of middle states, because everybody, I think, in USA Dodgeball was like, we don't like this rule, we're not going to adopt it, sorry. That
Yeah.
was like one we all stood firm on. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, and it's good to get everybody's feedback too, right? Like, we adopted the 3-minute rule in our local league. We played it last week. I already provided some feedback to the board on like some issues that we had with it in
Mhm.
terms of application. So yeah, we'll see how it goes in Minneapolis.
The no ball reset too, I think is going to get a lot of people because that last throw or team throw, whatever, before the reset, like that's going to
Yeah.
be crucial.
Yeah, yeah, that's one that we talked about a lot, both internally and then like at our league night. We had people like counting down for Burden, and then they would be like, "No blocking," and then people just started launching balls, and it was like, "No, that's not like you're moving into, So it'll be
Yeah,
an
that's
adjustment
funny.
period for sure. It'll be an adjustment period. I think we've got some ideas. Shout out Steven Decker for helping build ref training and certification throughout the year this year. So we're going to provide a lot of guidance to our refs. Actually, a cool thing about Tempe, we've got paid refs for most of the tournament this weekend. There will be at least one fully paid ref for mixed all day on every court. And then we're looking at trying to get, I think we're a couple short for open and women's on Saturday, but we're trying to fill those spots. So if anybody's interested in reffing and getting paid, hit me up. We got spots. But
Awesome.
I think that's going to be a game changer for us too, is just improve the quality of reffing overall.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. All right, guys,
Cool.
that's all I got. Let's hit the outro. We'll go in clockwise order again. Any closing thoughts / shout outs? Dustin.
First, thanks for having us on. It was a blast. I love doing stats. If you guys like stats, hit us up on our Instagram. If you want stats done, we've got a linked tree there with a form that you can fill out, putting in a request. If you want to help out, reach out, and we'd love to talk about how people can help. Otherwise, find us at a tournament. Come say hi, chat us up.
JD.
Shout out to Dodgeball Hub and Dodgeball.live. We've been partnering with them for the better part of a year and a half now, maybe. We worked with them. Love working with those guys. I definitely think you guys should also support them for tournaments and support local leagues.
Joey.
I mean, we've talked about them a lot, but shout out just to USA Dodgeball, specifically Dustin in our was our little podcast here. But I think what we're trying to do and the expansion of just all these different rules, I think they're moving in the right direction, and I'm really proud that a member of our team is a huge part of that. But I'm really excited to see where it goes and what we're doing. So USA Dodgeball, but I'm also just gonna say thanks, guys. This has been awesome.
Munchie.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This has been really cool, really fun. Nice to always talk with my guys here and nerd out. I'd say shout out to PBR Playback Review. Without them, we probably wouldn't continue doing what we were doing. We probably would have gave up after those spreadsheets and be like, this is not going to get easier. We don't want to do this anymore. I probably definitely wouldn't have. And it all started because Instagram's algorithm showed me a video of theirs, and I was like, hey, I think I could use them for something. Let me dig into them. So shout out to them, making my life a lot easier. We're always loving to learn new programs. I'm a big geek when it comes to software, so I used to do a lot of QA. So I like to just go in there and navigate, click on things, and break things down. So if you need someone to QA stuff, feel free to reach out. But as Dustin mentioned, we're always loving to do stats. That's why we do that. That's why we got an official jersey now. There we go. So yeah, give us a follow, give us a like, and fill out a form and let us know what game you want us to do.
I will put the link in the description. JD, you're gonna have to send me that short too. I'll put it in there if you want.
I already sent it in the group in our chat. So yeah, feel free to send that around, because it's pretty funny.
Oh boy. And last thing, what's one guest you guys would like to see on Bromance? Start clockwise again. Dustin.
That's a great question. There's so many great people. Honestly, I'd love to see you have Mitch from Dodgeball
Ooh.
Live on. You know, he's got some great perspectives on the game. He's got some great perspectives on, you know, USA Dodgeball and Canadian Dodgeball, and he's on the Canadian board now too. So I think he would be an amazing guest to have.
JD.
Um, like I'm not sure if you've had Megan and or Max yet from the Dodgeball Hub team. I think they definitely deserve their flowers. I think they'd be wonderful guests.
Haven't had them on, but I'm thinking about doing a couples week. So that would be a good couple.
Nice.
Perfect.
Joey.
Man, who would be a good answer? Come back to me. Go, Mike.
Okay. Munchie.
Well, I was gonna say Mitch, then I was gonna say Megan, and Max, and then I guess I would say the coach of the women's foam team Mexico, Tony Sanchez.
Okay. That's Katie's husband, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Joey.
Or another one pair for your couples week too, by the way. Player and coach.
Yeah. I'm gonna stretch myself so thin because last year I would record twice, sometimes 3 times a week. And now I'm like, yeah, I should do couples week. And I'm like, you idiot. Like, I'm not recording Monday through Friday. Like, we record for 2 to 3 hours. I do so much prep and edits and stuff afterwards. I can't do that. Hell no.
Hey. Series that you just film in a week.
Yeah, true.
Kudos to, you know, everybody who has a partner out there that puts up with our obsessive hobby.
Yeah, shout out
Right.
my wife because yeah, we also have a kid too. So as soon as we put the kid down, I'm like, all
in
right.
the same boat. You know, it's my daughter's birthday on Friday, and we're celebrating, and then I'm hitting the road to Tempe. So
It's tough.
yeah.
Joey?
Okay, I got 2 answers here. So I think both of them have been around dodgeball for such a long time and would be able to provide very interesting perspectives, especially if we're talking about like the early history. And so I think going through that could be super fun. And I think Nicole Williams and Michael Costanza would be great people to have on your podcast.
I don't think I know either of those people.
Nicole's the president of USA Dodgeball.
Okay. Nicole Chasen.
Yeah, former national team player, now the president. And then Michael Costanza is actually he's been on the national team. He played on USA Dodgeball national team in like 2011. He is like one of the
like the inaugural year, like he was on that team.
Yeah. And
Michael
just for context,
Costanza.
Brian, he used to run leagues in LA that used to have like celebrities coming out. Like Katy Perry played in his league. Yeah, he's had some like low-key big celebrities now play in the dodgeball leagues that he's run in LA over the years, and he's been running them since the beginning of time.
And he still runs these leagues.
Yeah, he runs our Friday competitive.
Oh shit.
league.
Okay.
Our
Michael Costanza.
Our phone league, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to figure this out. The guests out west. I did a podcast a few weeks ago with William Gordon from Ireland. The timing sucks, but I'm off of work right now, so I don't care. It's 12:30 at night. Like we're doing this, but yeah, no, that's on my list now.
Nice.
Right
Good
on, man.
call, Joey.
Hell yeah! All right, guys, thank you for hopping on. I know I took a lot of your time, but I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Have a good one.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Peace.
Later.
Ciao.